Were anybody in St. Louis actually like sad to see them leave?
Well, I think the first question is why would LA want them back?
LA is not going to support them. LA is not going to support any NFL team you bring there.
Well, no. Well, I'm just trying to remember the successful track record that the Rams had in LA the first time.
But I haven't, like, I've only been supporting NFL for like 5 or 6 years on a consistent basis where like I'm up to date on everything. So I wasn't around for the last time there was an LA team. Is there a specific reason why LA don't get behind any NFL teams?
Because it's fucking LA.
Because they have 10,000 other things going on they can do.
Dude,
Although, to be fair, during the NFL years, I mean, they did have the Lakers to fall back on. The Lakers just absorbed everything in their path.
Right.
So, because the Lakers were just dominant. So
And the Kings as well are such a big kind of deal too, right?
Oh yeah, but at the time, the Kings weren't. The Kings didn't get bigger until later.
Okay.
And plus, the NFL is outside, and no one really wants to be outside there.
And the Clippers. The Clippers are doing really well now too, so that adds to that.
Yeah, so I don't know if 2 NFL teams are going to work because the Chargers are definitely going, right? The Chargers aren't going. Okay.
It's not set in stone yet. Well, Spanos and Kroenke hate each other because about 10 years ago, the guy who owns the Chargers went to Stan Kroenke and said, "Hey, I found this really great piece of land in L.A. I'm thinking about putting a stadium in it. You're a real estate developer. What do you think?" And then by the time he gets back to the office, Kroenke's already bought the land.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there are actually 2 stadiums going up, yeah?
Did you hear
one. They're trying to get them both to play in one.
Yeah.
Did you hear the rumor that the Raiders might move to Las Vegas?
Yes.
Which is probably exactly where they belong, to be honest with you. If they're not in Oakland.
Although the funny thing is, for years any team that's wanted to move has threatened to go to LA. So what's the threat now? Because London is not a threat. London is the one everybody's avoiding.
Well, actually, except for my owners, except for the owners of the Buccaneers, who also happen to own Manchester. So.
Well, yeah.
United, so.
But the Jags don't want to go, and the Jags are the ones that are rumored to be the ones the biggest target for it.
Okay. Well, actually, what we're hearing down here in Tampa is that they want to make they want to play half of their home games for the Buccaneers in London.
The NFL's been trying to get a team to do that for a while now.
Yeah, and the Bucs have had the longest kind of connection to it. Carolina's just only been in the last year or so has been connected to
Jacksonville, actually.
Oh, it's Jacksonville. Sorry.
Well, again, it's because the Glazers own Manchester United.
Yeah, and have been fucking it up, but however.
Well, I mean, but that's the kind of football that nobody cares about. So really,
yeah.
Only the most popular sport in the world.
Yeah. Well, that is the one cool thing about here is
collar is popular too, but I'm not going out to get it.
We're probably going to get an MLS team out of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
We're getting one too, which I'm a little uncertain about.
Yeah. People are a little more pissed about the fact that he has left the city with like a $19 billion debt behind it, hasn't paid it off.
Yeah, because the city the taxpayers weren't done paying off the stadium that they wanted to get out of, right?
Yeah, and then so there's a whole bunch of PSL owners, which are the personal seat license people that are suing. They're going to sue the NFL, and so the NFL said, "Well, we'll pay you off," and they said, "No, you won't." So it's actually going to go to court, and their argument is that the NFL didn't follow their guidelines for leaving the city that they set up, and they actually didn't. So it's going to be interesting. I could actually give a shit at this point, but yeah.
I was just asking the guys just when you were disconnected there, are St. Louis even that sad about the Rams leaving?
Well, okay, we were just voted the #1 sports city in America. Let's just by Wall Street Journal, which is
by people living in St. Louis.
No. It's by the Wall Street Journal. So take that for what it is, right? But we certainly don't have a problem selling out the hockey stadium or the baseball stadium every night. And it's a good sports town. Now, The problem is that Kroenke, when he bought the team 10 years ago, since then it's kind of like he purposely hasn't really done anything to make. He's only been to like 2 games. He's been to more. He owns Arsenal, so he's been to more Arsenal games than he's been to Rams games, right? And he also owns. Oh no, this is sick. He owns the Colorado Avalanche, the Denver Nuggets, and Arsenal, right?
What?
Wait, hang on. None of those teams are good.
Arsenal are okay.
Continue.
They're a bunch of arsenals.
So basically, he didn't, exactly go out of his way to make the team a winner, sort of. And people kept going to the games when they were losing. I mean, even this year, people were going, right? And, it's one of those things where, like, even if you have a shit NFL team, you at least draw people to your city with tourism money and stuff that it's worth having one.
That's why the Falcons are still here.
People support him because they have an NFL team and people like football, and they'll go to the games. What they really hate is the fact that for the last 13 years they've sucked, and every year they raise the ticket prices. So, and it's the beers that they had the second highest concessions costs for an NFL game.
So it sounds like they're actually trying to drive the fans away so that they can have an excuse to leave.
Yeah, and even though he says they lost money, but they haven't. The team actually didn't lose money any year they were here. It's just weird. Yeah. So most people just don't. You have to understand the guy is a huge asshole. He's just generally,
A billionaire being an asshole? That's unusual.
Well, this is where it's interesting too. Out of all the owners in the NFL, right, and they all voted for him to go. I get it, but like a lot of them don't like him and they resent him for the fact that a lot of these guys made their own money, made their fortunes and all the stuff that they do. He married well and married into a wealthy family and now is spending all that money. He married into the Walmart family. So it's kind of like he bought into the old boy network. He didn't sort of work his way into the old boy network.
He's new money.
So, yeah, exactly. So, whatever. It just means we can watch whatever game we want to watch during the week.
Hey, Widge, we're talking sports.
I know. I keep hearing ball, 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 ball. That's about all I hear.
It's like a Saturday night for Scott.
Need Coffee presents Sports Balls.
Wow.
No.
That's right. No.
Like a Saturday night for Scott.
Wow.
I love you, buddy. I haven't been on here for a while. I need to get a few in.
That's what Scott said.
Balls or shots at Scott?
Hey, a little bit of both.
It's all the same.
Ouch. Wow.
Hi, Wedge.
Hey.
So I look forward to this
so that was
podcast
fun.
being posted in May.
Yeah, I've been a little busy. I'll cut this out of the podcast, but just here's some of the busy. Well, first of all, the Seneca audiobook is up, and I'm trying to wait until it actually gets completely sorted out because there was a corrupt file on it, but it's on Audible, and so that was sucking out my will to live. The good news is I am now an uncle.
Ooh.
Baby! Shannon spawned and has a son named Connor, and we have...
Good, solid Irish name.
Yeah.
Why is it an Irish name? Aaron?
I haven't been around in a while.
Because it's destined to work on the railroads and be drunk.
So that happened, and right before I got on the podcast, well, my mom's been having some difficulties, and they just figured out after about 10 days of trying to figure out, like 5 minutes before I got on the podcast, I received word they figured out it's a stroke. So yes, so if I suddenly I know, fuck, but considering we were in a fucking House episode where they didn't know what it was, I'll take stroke over.
Lupus?
Yes.
It's never lupus.
I suppose if they couldn't recognize it as a stroke straight away, it must have been a very, very mild one then, you know?
Well, something. It's very weird. We actually went to the ER like 2 Saturdays ago. I was in town, and I saw that she was having difficulties with one side of her body, and I went, that smells like a stroke. And they did the whole stroke protocol thing and could not see it. 2 doctors couldn't see it. And so she was exhibiting some weird symptoms, like her, if she was doing something with her left hand, her right hand would start to mimic it.
Right.
And so, and vice versa. So it was just weird. And so apparently they did a full, deeper MRI, not the normal stroke one, and saw it. And so now she's in the hospital, and they're stabilizing her to make sure she doesn't have any more.
Okay.
Sorry, Rich.
Hopefully she's all right. I mean, it sounds like she's at least kind of functional, right? At the moment, like she's not.
Kind of. She's been getting slightly worse, and I think part of the worse has been that she didn't know what was happening.
The stress of it all, yeah.
Yeah, the stress and the fact that my mom is like a completely independent, crazy person. So she was kind of though I know. If anyone has met my mother, you know where I get it from. But her balance was completely thrown. So she was still trying to go around the house and straighten up. And I'm like escorting her around the house. She's like, "Oh, you don't need to." I'm like, "No, you just about took a header into the wall. I'm following you wherever you go."
Oh, man.
So yeah, I've been a little busy. Here's the other thing I was busy with. So yeah, I was waiting for the ratings to even out on the first book because a bunch of people were like, "This file on here sucks," and I was like, "Well, it's because it's corrupt, and it just needs to be replaced." So, that's all of my secret projects finally revealed. Thank fuck.
That's the line you should come back in on from the edit, just to tease those fuckers.
Would you like to know? Da da da.
Yeah. Well, I hope things run better for you soon.
Yes, thank you. Things will hopefully smooth out shortly.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that's why we'll be playing catch up on Posting Justice.
Yeah.
And other things?
And other things, yes, Scott, absolutely.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all right. Like I said, I am just glad we fucking know what it is, because a stroke you can deal with. Some unknown phantom thing you can't. So.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah. So, okay, where were we?
Something besides sports.
Oh, right. So, okay, well,
sports.
Since Aaron's on, you'll be pleased to know that I have finally started Welcome to Night Vale.
Oh, good.
Oh, about fucking
Okay.
What's that, Tuffley?
Good.
About fucking
Okay.
time.
Yeah. So I'm 25 episodes in, and it's very sick.
And they go on tour again very soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm quite enjoying it. So some of it is very, very well written, and it's interesting that you could do so much with such a limited format.
Yeah, I think it's a like, 'cause I find it very difficult to sit down and listen to an episode solely and not like multitask. And with a kind of the type of show that Night Vale is, you really do want to give it your full attention. I think. I know you're a bit better at multitasking, but
yeah, if it's something I'm trying to pay attention to, I kind of I find myself just sucked into it. That's why I can't like watch television and do anything else, because I'm like a moth to a fucking flame, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, especially commercials, since I don't see commercials very often. they're like a hellish pit that I can't escape from.
But yeah, for that reason, I'm not as deep into Night Vale. I don't think you can think I've gotten as far as you have now. Yeah, it's definitely an inspiring sort of show. It makes you want to, like, especially for you as a person who's like written a lot of short stories as well. It probably gets you itching on a few things, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. The some of the concepts are fantastic, like the faceless old woman who lives in your house without you knowing it. That's great. And also I loved the story about you, which was the one long story told from your perspective, but through the radio as it was happening. That was just a great story. I mean, that was just amazingly good. So
I'm trying to remember where 25 is so we can talk about stuff.
Well, 25 is the first year anniversary where they basically encounter fully the city under the bowling alley.
Loading.
And silence.
Loading. Okay.
Yes.
So, but yeah, so I am to that point. I don't know where that is in the case of the. Oh, the other thing I'll mention is that the most fascinating thing I've heard so far is the mirror episodes between Desert Bluffs and Night Vale. Those
are great.
That first one about the sandstorm is quite a mental puzzler. I'm still turning it over in my head. So. Yeah, so no, I'm enjoying it. It took me so long because I have so many things to listen to, and I knew that I wanted to listen to it in bulk, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because I think, like most things, it needs to get its feet under it. So yeah, that's why I started on it now.
Have you watched the Making a Murderer thing on Netflix yet?
No. Should I?
Yeah.
I think you dig it. I've only watched like the first 3 episodes so far, so I haven't finished watching it myself either. But it's one of those things where it's you kind of like, how did I not know about this before? Like, it's such a fascinating story. Like, you were like, why wasn't this like huge news? Maybe John, did you remember it at the time when it came out?
It wasn't until, I don't know if it was later in the episodes they started showing some of the, coverage, national coverage that it got, that I started to remember the story. Remember, the deal is that back when this was coming out, like, Dateline was, the internet didn't exist really.
Yeah.
So
it was like 2000.
You had to wait.
Middle of it.
What's that?
It was like 2005 when he got arrested again, wasn't it? So like the first time he got arrested, there was nothing.
I mean, it was so it was like even then the internet was sort of in its infancy, right? So
yeah, there was no Facebook at that point.
So it wasn't well known, but I do recall the Dateline episodes, and I did actually just recently watch the follow-up Dateline for basically what's been happening since. If you happen to catch it on demand or whatever, you can skip the first 45 minutes because it has nothing except for a recap of exactly what you see in Making a Murderer. But the last 15 minutes kind of tell you where they're at now. He's got a new attorney, and they found some new evidence apparently. And see, I don't want to give away too much because it's kind of an interesting story, but I do encourage you to go read some other stuff because they do leave out some details, though there are still some huge questions about the whole process. But they do leave out some details that kind of skew more towards it looking bad for him.
Okay.
But the have you gotten to the murder yet already or no?
Yes.
Have you gotten to the nephew deal?
No, I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay. So I won't spoil this real thing that happened for you.
Yeah, right.
John, I've gotten to the nephew thing, but it was actually in my own life and not in the show.
Scott hasn't gotten to the nephew thing, has he?
No.
No.
What? Hey,
But there are some bits of evidence that they left off. Like they kind of played it off like in the first episode that he was accused of playing with a cat near a fire. Well, it turns out that he poured gasoline on that cat and threw it across the fire.
Yeah, I thought they kind of glanced over that. And
It's a little more than just
But they also tried to make out like, oh, he was such a young kid and it was a foolish like thing that a kid did. But then like they kind of reveal like a minute or two later, oh, he was like married at this point already. Like when he did the cat thing.
Yeah.
Like, he missed out
those
on
crazy
his
married
first
people.
child.
Yeah. So the first thing he got arrested for, that's just asinine. That was just crazy that he was. I mean, hell, he was 45 minutes away. He had all the proof in the world. He was 45 minutes away.
Yeah, and had receipts and witnesses.
Whatever.
But
It's just details when you live in a small town like that.
funnily enough, like out of all the things that I found out about watching this documentary, one of the main things was like, wow, Wisconsin is full of rednecks. I did not know.
Yeah.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
It's such a northern state. I
It's the
didn't think
South.
their rednecks were the same. Do you know what I mean?
My brother moved up there. If that'll tell you anything.
I'm sorry.
He has 4 daughters from 3 different women. A couple of them he's married, and yeah.
Wait. He's married a couple of his
and a couple of them are
daughters?
the same age, not from the same woman, huh? What?
He's married a couple of his daughters?
Sure, probably no. He's not that.
Hey, my older brother has 5 sons from 2 different women, so it's the same all year,
but you
all the
guys
world
are
around.
Catholic.
So
Therefore,
yeah,
you
it's
don't
like,
believe in divorce, Scott.
nice.
You're not that Catholic.
So Aaron, what you need to understand is that when it comes to rednecks, basically, how Darwin was with finches. If he had observed North American rednecks, he probably would have also figured out natural selection.
It's a weird thing because the rednecks and other, let's say, nominees for the Darwin Awards often have the most kids, so they're breeding better than the rest of us. They're likely to survive better.
Well, that's because basically we have what I call unnatural selection, in that we have made it so it's safe to be stupid. Nothing. Though certain people used to get eaten by large animals, and if Din was here, she could, deliver a sermon on this. Not unnatural selection, but large animals eating people. So there's nothing. There's nothing. The people who are smart enough not to have kids are being overrun by the people who can't figure out how to read the instructions on a condom wrapper. Now here's the thing, though, is that whenever somebody has an unplanned pregnancy, I don't know the right way to ask this, and I wish I did. But I would want to know. I would want to know. So what happened? Did you try to be safe, and did it not work? Did the condom break? Were you trying the rhythm method, the pull-out method? What? Because I'm curious, because I'm like, how did this happen in this day and age where you had an unplanned one? Now, I know nothing is 100% safe.
But come on, like how the condoms don't break. They don't. I mean, it doesn't really happen very often. Like,
Hold on.
Kind of do.
Hold on. I actually read about this. It's if used properly, they don't break.
But like,
What is?
They
Hush.
they kind of do.
Yeah, if they're not used properly, there can be malfunctions.
Right, and sometimes when they're used properly, they kind of do.
But at a much lower rate.
Oh no, a much lower rate. I can speak to that. It's a much lower rate, but it does happen, and it is rather unnerving. Let me just say, It's they kind of do, and it's kind of unnerving.
Oh. Is there a story here?
Yeah, the story is they kind of do. I mean, that's pretty much the story.
Yeah. Did you not pick up on that, Scott?
No, all this breeding stuff's just weird.
Alright. Well, gay people have to use condoms too.
Yeah.
Oh no! Using the condom was fun. It was just talking about the whole, not being sure was just a little weird. That's all.
Okay. Because you do have to be scared if a condom breaks as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Reasons.
Oh no. That's true. But what was the other thing?
Also
another thing. A lot of other things like if you're on the pill, that can also malfunction. And like you said, rhythm method and all that mess, and
mess.
Yes.
Well,
yeah. It is a mess.
You didn't get the right goalie in free agency, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Paul Simon's album "Rhythm Method of the Saints." So Scott, you appreciate that there's a whole Doug Stanhope routine about how if we really are concerned about the planet and natural resources, that everyone should promote sodomy.
Yes,
Whereas,
not Michigan.
Yeah, but sodomy actually being defined as any sexual gratification that is not used to procreate.
Well, that's what I meant, not Michigan. You heard about that, right?
No, what? What?
Michigan passed a law that outlawed anal and oral sex.
Really?
How can you outlaw oral sex? Like, how do they find out about this?
Well, there's nobody left.
Wait, hold on. You think they could find out about the anal sex?
Well, I suppose
That's
if
what the
you're
question
gay,
you're asking?
but if you're gay, I mean, you're probably, pretty certain to have anal sex.
I would think you're pretty certain to have oral sex as well.
Well,
Yeah,
it depends
but
on your use of Instagram, really.
Some people don't put out, John. Some people just don't do it.
Said Aaron bitterly. Yeah, no, what was it? Actually, there was another routine of Doug Stanhope's where he talks about these two guys were at home, minding their own business, minding each other's business, shall we say, and an ex of one of the two of them, who was pissed off that they were having a good time, called in a some kind of 911 call for a disturbance, and when the cops arrived, it was pretty clear that they had been minding each other's business, so to speak, and arrested them under sodomy laws. So there
here's
are
the
ways
thing.
to find out.
The thing is, nowadays, it might be easier because through social media and texting and stuff, bragging is now a lot more public than it used to be.
Okay.
Well, do you really go on Twitter and announce that you've just had, intercourse?
Some people do. I don't, but some people do.
Hashtag latergram.
Okay, not counting Kanye West, but
No.
But this is the thing that's really even more ridiculous about this law is outlawing anal and oral sex is unconstitutional. Yet Michigan hasn't done anything about removing the law. So it's like
welcome to the United States.
I know, but
Hey, Scott,
what?
do you think the anal sex and the lead in the water have anything to do with each other?
No.
What?
totally different pipes.
Yeah, lead and gas is not the same type of lead.
Thank you. I was waiting. I set the table. I set the fucking table. Nobody got. Jesus.
You're welcome.
Sorry, we're all at the kids' table over here.
Oh, ho, ho.
Yeah, at the kids' table talking about oral sex, yeah.
The conversation's better.
Actually, that's what you do at the kids' table, to be honest, if we're honest about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Man.
The sad thing is that
What do you give thanks for, little Mike? Well,
the sad truth is one day we're all going to turn on the TV late at night, and it's going to be an infomercial with Dr. Ruth and Scott talking about condoms.
And what's wrong with that?
I'd watch the shit out of that.
Is Dr. Ruth still alive?
I think so.
I think so.
Well, it'll be
Right.
like Tupac. It'll be a hologram. It'll be
Yeah.
Scott and
And
Dr.
it'd be
Ruth's
less hard
hologram.
because she's a lot shorter.
Yeah, she is still alive, 87 years old, and no doubt still kicking it.
Good. She's in my Deadpool.
Oh.
That doesn't come out till this weekend.
Yeah.
Currently tracking at 81% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wait, what is she doing with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, I had a couple of friends see it on Monday. They said it was good.
Oh, cool. Good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Apparently, Fox has already greenlit the sequel.
Oh yeah, yeah. That took the place of something else. What was it that?
Hey, watch.
I believe that was.
Terminator.
I believe it was that
Terminator.
that other film that they were doing, that other Marvel thing that isn't X-Men.
Oh right.
No. It was Terminator. I heard about this. It was Terminator.
No,
Yeah,
Baywatch-
They also
Baywatch
act
replaced
Fantastic
Terminator.
Four.
What's that?
Yeah, and sadly, I know I guess I'm one of 5 people on the planet, but I enjoyed Genesis.
Yeah, you and
Well,
Ron
Phil
can have
Collins
a
is
long
alright.
conversation come the Conjure thingy.
Oh, Ron likes it too, or did not like it?
He liked it.
Oh, okay, good.
He's so you and him make the 2 out of the 5.
Yeah, 2 out of 5. Yep, apparently so.
Nothing from a Phil Collins joke now.
I didn't hear the Phil Collins joke.
Damn it!
Sorry,
You
I
can
still
tonight.
had my.
Wait, hold on.
You can still tell it tonight because tonight. Whoa.
Stop this now.
I can't dance.
See, the only problem with making a joke about Peter
Jesus.
Gabriel Genesis is that nobody else knows the song. So,
Yeah.
oh, I see you made a Peter Gabriel Genesis joke. Okay, never mind. Okay, go ahead.
Kids,
I got
for those who don't know, Genesis used to be a group in the 80s. Go check out Wikipedia, which is
go back to the 70s.
Yeah, we're talking about little kids. They don't know anything outside the 80s.
Kids, condoms don't break, and Peter Gabriel was never in Genesis. God.
If you're a little kid, you shouldn't be listening to this show in the first place.
Okay.
I'm out. Shit,
Little
I'm
kids
out.
can learn.
I haven't been listening. I've been trying to figure out a joke that involves the Lamb and Broadway, but it's not coming to me.
Is that the?
He did have the Daisy costume, so that kind of relates back to the condom breaking. So,
Yeah.
The Lamilton?
No.
No. Alright.
That joke was definitely against all odds.
Oh,
Jesus, we're going to do this now?
Jesus. He knows me. And he knows I'm right.
Oh, fuck. Seriously,
you know-
we're really doing this.
You know what? I don't care anymore.
Oh! Fuck.
Oh God, you're just making a whole land of confusion over here.
Guys,
Is this
guys.
the world we live in? Are these the hands we're given? Come on, guys.
I came back for this. For this.
All right.
God
Yeah.
Damn you all to hell.
well, yes, because Phil Collins.
Scott was better off living separate lives from us.
Fucking- God.
Please note that Mike did not participate in the
Yeah, neither did I. Thank you.
section
Thank you, Tuffley.
of the
Thank-
program. Thank you for.
Thank you. Jesus,
I don't
it's
care.
like,
Land of
fucking,
Confusion
it's like
still bugs.
fucking Beetlejuice with you people.
Oh, you know it would be cool if it was like Candyman, and we've already said his name 3 times, and he pops up on the podcast.
No, it wouldn't.
I'm sure Phil Collins would be rather pleasant.
No.
Hello, I'm Phil Collins. I'm an Oscar.
All I want to say is if Phil Collins turns up at FunFest, I want to use him for the pinata at the end.
Well, that's an
What did
interesting.
Phil Collins
use.
ever do to you?
That's an interesting use of a drummer, but
Dum 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 dum.
Wait, Aaron, I think you're getting in too deep.
Something funny with synchronicity. No, that'd be the police.
What?
Who are touring? Wait,
Yeah.
and Sting is touring with Peter Gabriel, which brings the whole thing back circular. Thank you.
So, is there anything else we'd like to talk about? Please.
Sledgehammers?
I thought we were switching over to the police.
No.
So did we talk about the X-Files? I don't remember if we talked about the X-Files.
Roxanne's not here, John.
Has anyone been watching the X-Files?
No.
I have.
I never watched.
I didn't watch last night's episode though.
Okay.
I did watch episode 3, which is really good. I thought.
Yeah, so far episode 3 is the one that they really brought the 6 episodes back for, because that's just great.
Except I had a friend of mine who said he thought it was the worst episode. I'm like, what? And my wife didn't like it.
I'm kind of sad after this week's episode we go back to Chris Carter written episodes. So.
Well, my wife didn't like episode 3 either.
Yeah.
I was laughing through the whole thing. I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was great. I thought it was just great. Because
What is it with series creators is like after like almost immediately when they come back to a series they suck.
To be fair, I think with the first episode, the issue with the first episode, there was so much narrative weight that Carter felt like he had to throw in to explain the time, between the television show, because people didn't see the second film. So because America, you didn't see the second X-Files film, you got a 7-minute monologue. That's what happens. That was your fault, America. Shame on you.
Well, no. Good on you for not seeing that second movie. It was horrible.
Well, no, because if they had seen the second film, we wouldn't have had that 7-8 minute monologue at the beginning.
But they would have had to sit through an hour and a half of crap, as opposed to the 7 minutes of crap.
Because that was the thing I was thinking when I was watching the first episode. It's like I was really excited to have the show back, and we're gonna get to the credits, and it's all awesome, and then 7 minutes of talking, like straight, in the monotone. That's what I tuned in for.
Some people, yeah, unfortunately.
So,
Although I appreciate that they didn't change the credits, only adding Pelegi to it. But otherwise they didn't change the credits, which I thought was. It's still early '90s hair too, which was great, because I know they did actually tweak the opening at one point to make them look old, to go over the fact that yes, the hair did actually change over the course of the show. But they went back to early '90s hair, which is okay. It's kind of cute now. Shut up, Scott.
No.
Panties. Oh, I remember that. I remember she had the wave. That's nice. And kind of move on. So
Tuffley, how about that halftime show?
I did not have. First of all,
you mean the supposed Black Panther rally?
First of all, I would like to mention that I did not at any point watch the Super Bowl.
Good.
I instead went to see Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Nice.
How was it?
How was that?
Kim loved the shit out of it.
Well, of course she did.
You're also describing water as wet.
As Kim describes it, and she probably will many times, she was the target audience for this. I kind of felt like it didn't go.
So she calling you Mr. Darcy now?
No.
Oh, I'd worried that.
I didn't feel it went as insane as the premise could have been.
Oh.
I've read the book, but I felt like the film, the bits where it went back to Pride and Prejudice were not. It didn't hold enough there. It wasn't insane enough.
Interesting.
It was the bits that were insane were enjoyable. It's just when it went. I am not a fan of the source material, so it wasn't insane enough for me when it went back to the source material.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either.
That it wasn't enough to kind of keep me going until we got back to, you know, fighting hordes of undead. But you know, it was not bad. It was not horrible. It was not Hansel and Gretel. So, you know, it had that going for it.
Oh.
I know, but it was a fun film. But again, Kim was the target audience for this, and I had to kind of defer to her to what she thought of the film, and she thought it was great. So, mission accomplished. Nobody else saw it this weekend, but mission accomplished.
Well, who knew it was out? I didn't see anything for it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I looked at the top 10 films, and Nicholas Sparks came in above it, and I told Kim that, and immediately she was depressed.
Well, of course. It's fucking Nicholas Sparks.
I know.
Huh.
But I did see the Formation video, and here recently I've become rather. I have to first figure out what Beyonce was saying in the song first, because she does tend to go rather fast these days, and I don't know whether she's picked
That's
that
the
up.
oldest thing you've ever said, Tuffley.
I know, but I don't know if this is something she's picked up. You know, she didn't always sing this fast. It's not like, you know, she was trying to set Busta Rhymes land speed records on previous records. So
as the foreign guy, if I got it first time round,
yeah.
Oh.
But I appreciate the predicament that you're in. I'll be there someday myself.
Thank you.
No problem.
Although, and I will also say that there were a lot of people. There was some mild complaint that, well, first of all, if you're complaining there's too little Coldplay in anything, stop it. That's the first thing. Although I think it is telling that that the halftime show producers realized that Coldplay may not be able to hold an audience when they had to add not just Beyonce but Bruno Mars.
Which were if I remember rightly, the last two performers at the Super Bowl as well, weren't they?
I think it was Bruno Mars. I think Madonna was the year before that because the infamous MIA finger incident.
Oh, Katy Perry as well. That's right.
Yeah, Katy Perry. Yeah, so it was Madonna, Katy Perry. Beyonce was a couple of years back.
Okay.
But yeah, I am curious that at what point the producers decided that Coldplay wouldn't hold an audience for 12 minutes. That should have been an immediate decision.
I like Coldplay. Fuck you guys.
Like, have you heard any of their...
No,
I appreciate Coldplay for what they are. They are not a band that can hold that audience.
Not that particular audience.
Yeah.
Not
no,
that
that's
particular
true.
audience.
no. It's like Up With People exploded all over the place. It was fucking horrible.
Really? I don't know. That sounds pretty good to me.
They had anybody. I mean, they had all these people in like really stupid looking Logan's Runs looking motherfucking outfits dancing around outside of Coldplay while they're trying to. And Coldplay is not a like we're gonna go out in the stands and party with our audience kind of band. It's just not. You know, you basically take Radiohead, you put them through a spaghetti strainer, and you got Coldplay. And thank you.
Well, I kind of thought
it's not their audience. That's exactly it. It's not their audience. And the other problem is when you put Coldplay and their kind of show and songs next to Bruno Mars and then next to Beyonce, it sticks out like a sore thumb. It's just it doesn't, you know, fit well.
And you want to know what the weird thing is? The weird thing is that Beyonce actually did a song on the Coldplay record that they actually did not perform at the Super Bowl. And if I understand this correctly, the reasoning was I think the quote from Chris Martin was that they thought the song they did with Beyonce they had just released as a single was too new.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that in the context of the song Beyonce came out and did was exactly 2 days old.
But Beyonce has a lot more confidence than Chris Martin does.
Although the other thing I loved about this was that immediately after the Super Bowl performance, there was an article that came out, and I don't remember where this hit. And Rob, I think you may have posted this as well, because I think this is how I saw it. But Beyonce and apparently David Bowie have both rejected Coldplay.
And the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers, But apparently David Bowie did not want to work with them because the song they had proposed he do was horrible.
No, yeah, he rejected the Chili Peppers and them. Sorry, my brain is fried.
And then Beyonce had a pleasant shutdown. She goes, I really like you, but this song is horrible.
Wow.
So Beyonce has moved up a couple of points actually in my regard. But yeah, the Super Bowl thing is always funny though, because ever since Janet happened, they have tried to get safer and safer with the performer choices.
Right. But that was a safe year for performers, really. Like,
well, yeah, and that too is an interesting case because how exactly can you protest a boob accidentally being shown by a halftime show sponsored by Viagra? How is that?
Oh, they find a way.
How is that offensive? At what part does that become less offensive?
American men want to feel like they can control women's bodies, and they didn't have control over that titty.
Yes, it was just out there, and men were like, ah.
But yeah, ever since Janet happened, they've been trying to be slightly more safe. I mean,
Madonna's someone who you would be likely. I mean, if anybody was going to put a titty out for funsies, it would have been Madonna.
Well, no, the most controversial. Although, again, the thing that actually happened during the Madonna performance was not done by Madonna; it was done by the guests she brought out.
Yeah.
So. Which I believe MIA is still making payments for for her finger. So.
Really? Wow.
Which is the worst pull my finger joke ever, really. But yeah, MIA is still paying the NFL.
Jesus.
I think she'll be paying the NFL for quite a long time.
She did not read her contract.
No, she did not. And she wasn't paid. She wasn't paid very much to do it anyway. Which is the crazy thing about that. They go cheap. Wow. They go cheap on the NFL thing.
Really?
I think the last couple of years, because they were sponsored by a soft drink. Apparently, the soda manufacturer pays the band the majority of their fees. The NFL pays them literally nothing, but they can fine the hell out of them if they do anything the NFL considers offensive. That is the other side of it.
Doesn't sound like a lot of fun then.
Yeah, which is why they can only book Coldplay. That's
well, they said believe in love, and that's a controversial statement, guys.
But no, I'm curious. I'm curious who they end up getting next year, since we've already crossed the bridge to Coldplay.
Look at Taylor Swift and Smash Mouth or something.
Although Taylor
would be a good choice, actually.
Taylor would be a good choice for that because that's right in the audience, and it would get younger viewers. Because that's the thing the NFL needs to be concerned about too. Their average viewership is aging badly, so it's kind of up to them to kind of bring younger people into at least watching the large game.
Yeah, but you wonder if they'll just try and appeal to that aging audience like they did with The Who and bring back like an old band.
I just had a horrible thought, and I'm going to leave it there.
Come on. This is Weekend Justice. This is a safe place. Say it.
No.
We'll hold you later.
Go ahead. Move on. No, but no. I was thinking supergroups.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking safe supergroups.
Uh-huh. We're just gonna bug you until you tell us.
Well, wait,
What was
guys,
that?
aren't Guns N' Roses touring again next year?
Yeah, actually, that was my other thought too. That GNR actually survives to get to the Super Bowl.
That would be a
Which
miracle.
it's not
itself.
really Guns N' Roses. It's just what is it? Axl, Slash, and maybe Duff. Duff hasn't been confirmed yet.
Okay. Well, if those three is even more than they've had in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing, these Coachella reunions, I blame Morrissey and Johnny Marr for just not sucking it up and getting it back together and ending this shit.
Tuffley, how weird would it be if that was the place that they ever had a Smiths reunion, was the Super Bowl halftime for?
Well, first of all, I think, speaking of incorrect venues for things,
It would be amazing for so
and
many wrong reasons.
the minute somebody orders a hot dog, Morrissey's gonna leave, and that's
They wouldn't even be able to have them in the building.
how do we fill the fucking airtime?
I gotta actually say, just because we were talking about them,
Well, bring Neil Tennant out; it'll be an electronic set.
the Super Bowl being the wrong audience for Coldplay. Was anyone else kind of impressed with how cooperative the crowd were with holding up all those like colored panels and stuff for the show? Because like I was surprised there wasn't more sections of people just going fuck this.
I would imagine that they pay those people more than they actually pay the band.
No, but like the audience for the
Yeah.
match,
Yeah.
they would be paid to hold up the sign. Fair
Well,
enough.
it's like the thing with the Olympic thing where they gave people the tiles and they go, okay, at a certain point we'll tell you and you do it, and it's part of your entrance fee for the. It's kind of like the release you sign if you go to certain shows,
Okay.
concerts.
That and they're just not dicks, Aaron.
But that's what I mean. I'm surprised that there wasn't more dicks at the Super Bowl, John.
All those people have money. There are no Wisconsin folks there, if you know what I mean. Love you all. Love all you people in Wisconsin. Just so you know.
Yeah, if we have any Wisconsin listeners, please give us a shout out.
And remember, Aaron called
Also,
you
if you'd
rednecks,
like to
not
send
me.
us dairy products, you're welcome to do that too.
I said there was rednecks within Wisconsin. I didn't say our listeners were rednecks. They are obviously people who are very smart and intelligent and better off.
And I thought I was good at sucking.
Yay!
Never
Howdy,
mind.
Scott. That was a good one.
It's funny because it's true.
I like Robo-Me.
That's the pause that refreshes every 15 minutes on Weekend Justice.
It's like John found where it was.
We're talking about my penis, right?
Robo-Me sounds so young. I remember that.
It was so full of life. It hadn't taken him down.
Just before years and years of 3-hour shows just sucked his fucking will to live.
God, if it broke him, what's going on with us?
That band
Wait a minute. You're just asking this now.
Well, there's always this.
No!
Hey now. Hey.
But is Gem Adventure really? Is she
What?
Adventure?
We don't need two strokes in the Widget Walls family.
Truly outrageous. Whoa, Jam.
I think that was referred to the 2 weeks Gem was released as a baby boom. There were more children produced.
Netflix.
There were more children produced in that 2 weeks because everyone stayed home. Making babies.
But not puppy, baby, monkey babies, right?
No.
Oh, Super Bowl lad, Scott.
Oh.
And you did see, I don't know if you talked about it, you did see the, because I stepped away for a minute, the Super Bowl Babies commercial, right?
Yeah.
I did not.
The seal.
Did you guys see the John? Did you see the heroin ad? Was that national?
There's
No.
No.
No. Okay.
Heroin.
No,
They're
they
bitching about
Heroin. It's what's
marijuana.
forbidden.
Heroin.
That's
I'll
why.
say, no. There was the Super Bowl.
Brought to you by the
broadcast-
Heroin Council.
No, the in St. Louis they had an ad for heroin, and they
Your
said
team's
there was a
gone?
national.
Try heroin.
Brought to you by the Smack It Up Council.
Well, better than Smack a Bitch Council.
You
Well,
could rub it up
I
though.
was thinking more in terms of like, the more you know, and it's more like you want a public service campaign that doesn't have the word bitch
So what was
in
a
it.
heroin commercial?
Yeah.
He sends to me now. Local. It even says
Oh,
local.
Oh yeah, I thought.
Oh, well, it was against
Well, I
heroin.
just saw that now. Well, they said it was going to air. They said it was they bought national spot time, so I wasn't sure if it aired across the country or not. That's why I was asking.
Although
So-
to be fair, it was probably
'Cause-
still less depressing than the one with the insurance commercial with the kid that died.
Well, there's people. There's people I know in other parts of the country that saw it, so that's why I asked John. So never mind.
What was the one?
Hold on, let me see if I can.
What was that? The one with the kid that died drowning in the bathtub? When the hell was that? Was that a couple? What was that? 2
No,
years ago?
no, that
last
was
year, wasn't it?
That was last year.
No, that was Whitney Houston.
Oh no.
Well, a Super Bowl ad with a powerful message about the horrors of heroin.
The commercial debuted tonight before a crowd
Horrors
of
of
people
heroin?
personally touched by the
That's again different. place.
Horns of heroin.
Producers expect it will also be sharply criticized.
The anti-heroin ad is set to music.
Okay.
That tell the story.
Well, all right. Can we actually see the ad?
Had a couple pills on a little dare.
Then appears in a daze as her life as an addict spirals out of control.
Now she's missing class.
But she's
dropping
better, right?
her pom-poms.
Many
Sarah
people,
McLaughlin.
There's puppies actually in this commercial.
But she's thinner, right? At the end of it, because I think that's what people care about.
Yeah.
The arms of some angel dust.
So really, what they want you to do is buy Faith No More's third album, right? I caught myself.
It's okay.
Segment of it that actually shows the mother in it, of course, brought immediate tears to my eyes because
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Way to bring it down. StopHeroin.org, as though there's.
here locally during Sunday's Super Bowl
Said just one time, and then you'd be fine.
is similar to the one that aired during last year's big game and is bound to trigger another wave of controversy.
Is there a huge heroin problem in St. Louis or something?
Yes, there is.
Oh, well, okay.
Apparently, which I sort of heard about but never knew. So because I obviously look like a heroin addict. So thank you. Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this.
They tapped into that whole market. So
No, you look like a slap head, not a smack head. They're different.
Here's
Sorry,
that. Here's that.
That's
Here's
too
the Super Bowl.
colloquial.
Here's Super Bowl. Baby thing.
What makes the Super Bowl so super? A day we adore. It is a day so super. It's why we were born. And in the end, we're not seeing one.
Are those really his kids?
Those okay. So what they are, they're all kids from different states. Where the
Seal.
the team that won the Super Bowl that year, they're the age of they're the kids that were born 9 months after the Super Bowl. The premise being that when their team won, that mom and dad
Fucked.
got it on.
So this generation is going to be a bunch of asthmatics. Is that what you're saying? That's insulting.
We're all famous. It all happened all in time lapse. Super Bowl was when. Ooh, that's why we're here singing this sweet serenade.
Because I literally
Terrible
thought
idea.
those were Seal and Heidi Klum's kids, which, and there are enough of them.
There's like oh, here's Seal though.
Ever since we were in time, we watched every game.
I don't
Seal is
know about-
actually in this video though. That's what's funny.
He hasn't got a lot on his plate at the moment. Come on.
Anyway, that was fun.
That killed a few minutes.
That was a thing that
What other
happened.
commercials can we watch?
Well, there was a really hilarious one about a kid drowning in a bathtub. I don't know if you want to
find that one.
All we hear on the podcast is just like sploosh.
A few comic bubbles.
Here's Seal's part. Let's see if we can find it.
They cuddled, canoodled all night, baby. All night our moms and dads sang the baby choir. We're all babies. It all happened on
Oh, anyway.
Okay.
Where's Widge?
Songs to do
What the hell?
like
He might have had to go take care of something.
yeah, but of all the songs to do a parody of for Super Bowl babies, "Kiss from a Rose" doesn't make a lot of
Probably the
sense.
cheapest.
Maybe. It's like, who can we get to
need a
show up
song.
for $10?
We need a song that was in a Batman film that people might mildly remember.
Well,
No, not the Clooney one.
Now, I believe that it was actually #1 at some point, wasn't it, for a long
Yeah.
time?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a boss song, don't get me wrong, but just a weird choice.
yeah. Well, I mean, the funny part is that the ad is for the NFL.
Yeah.
The NFL is advertising for themselves during their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
they got the ad time cheap.
well, there's a lot of they had a lot of ad people not buy ads. Did you notice there was no Budweiser ad?
NFL, think of
There
the
was-
children, not the
think there
women
was
that were hit
two-
by the players.
There was 2 Budweiser
Yeah,
ads. There's one with Seth Rogen and Amy Schumer.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
The caucus one,
that's right.
the biggest caucus in the world.
Because AB is pulling out of their is pulling back their money that they're giving the NFL for ads now.
Correction, there was 3 because there was the one that was just sort of the manly beer thing with just a bunch of the Clydesdales marching, and then there was the guy sitting at the bar that had a orange wedge in his beer and he flicked it off like it was it's not a fruit cocktail or something like that. But then the last one was the Helen Mirren thing.
Oh
Budweiser
yeah.
had that one on, which was the don't be a don't be a worthless piece of human trash and drink and drive.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was actually quite amusing.
Yeah, but do you think that she's sitting around drinking Budweisers all day? I was actually kind of struggling with the fact that there was a hamburger in front of her.
No,
That was
but see, here's the thing. Let me put it to you this way. You shouldn't really assume about Helen Mirren on her Desert Island Discs episode.
Oh yes.
Yeah, her basically you pick 8 songs and then that you're going to take with you to the desert island that are going to be the only 8 you can have ever, and then you pick one where if you could only pick one, what would you pick? And one of her 8 and her pick was Pass the Dutchie by Musical Youth.
Oh yeah.
Seriously. So I'm just saying, I'm sure Helen Mirren can enjoys a really nice craft beer or a cocktail, but I would not be surprised at fucking all to see her knock back a Bud.
She was around like back in the 70s with like what are their completely blanking Terrence Stamp and all them. Those guys partied.
Oh yeah. In fact, there is a book that I want to get, which is and Rob, you've probably read this, the one with Peter O'Toole and Richard Burton and
Yeah, I have that. you want me just to send it to you and you can borrow it and send it back?
Let me see if there's an audiobook of it, because I have such a stack of borrowed books that you might never see it again, and we'd both be dead. But I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
But
I'm sure some marijuana has passed by her at some point.
Oh yeah,
Along with
at
other
least.
things.
At least. So, yeah. In fact, there's another recommendation for you. Listen to Desert
Marijuana?
Island.
Oh.
Well, no, Serv would have to speak to that. I don't screw with my brain chemistry. It's fucked enough.
Yeah.
No.
Caffeine doesn't screw with your brain chemistry.
What? No, not like it doesn't screw with it. It manipulates it, but it doesn't. Exactly. Thank you.
So instead of getting fucked, you
Cosmic
get
me.
fondled?
What?
Instead of getting fucked, you get fondled?
Oh, Robo Wedge was so young.
I know. God, weren't as many lines in his face. What the hell was I saying? Oh, Desert Island Discs, where you can you listen to some of the stuff that people pick, like Alice Cooper, and you go, "You're a lot more interesting than I thought," and I thought you were very interesting to begin with.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Can I just get kissed by a rose? Stuck out of my
I'm
head?
thinking the same thing.
What?
God damn it!
Did you just do a Seal reference?
We were playing the
Don't
Super
ask.
Bowl ad while you were gone, and it's a parody of "Kiss from a Rose."
Oh, okay.
And now it's all we can think about.
Oh, I'm glad I missed that mental plague.
Well, there you go.
Singing this sweet serenade. Now Super Bowl 50 is here. So much reason for cheer.
Hey, I own the first 3 Seal albums. The first one's amazing.
They're all called the same thing, so they're really easy to remember and find.
And I think they re-released Killer too with Adamski with like a whole new mix. I think there's like some kind of weird new mix of that out.
There's like 18 of the single Killer though. Is like there's 18 million remixes of that song.
Oh yeah. Well, see, what the great thing about Seal is when he put out now, kids, I'm talking about CD singles here. Ask your parents. CD singles, you would always have 3 or 4 B-sides, which were reworks of his studio tracks, which sounded completely different and were awesome. And then when I saw him live, he played the songs again, but in a completely different way from the other 2 ways. That was still awesome. So, very cool. But yeah,
Well, I have no problem with Seal. I like Seal. It's just, the song gets stuck in your head, and it's stuck in your head for hours.
Yeah, no, it's not the best song. Wasn't that from a Batman soundtrack anyway?
Yes.
Yeah.
The second Batman.
Forever.
Oh.
So the third one.
Third one. Oh, okay.
Which had the best Batman soundtrack overall.
But it was no Bat Dance though.
I will say
that doesn't hold up.
I will say
it didn't
though.
hold up when it was around.
No. I will say that just for sheer lunacy, the Prince Batman album does have a fond spot in my heart, because it's just like, what? Because if you listen to that, leave out the samples from the movie aside, if you listen to it, if you didn't tell someone it was the Batman soundtrack, you would never know it was supposed to be the Batman soundtrack. You'd just be like, you know what it could be called, Rob? It could be called Hit and Run Phase 0.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, have you not listened to the Hit and Run albums?
I have, but I just was trying to forget them.
I know. Well, I've already forgotten them, so.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so have we talked about Legends of Tomorrow?
No.
Is anyone else watching Legends of Tomorrow? I've seen the first episode.
I've seen the first 2.
Okay.
We kind of talked about this briefly, but nobody else had seen it yet. So.
But
okay.
Wentworth Miller is just great to watch. He saves the whole.
They're awesome.
And it's an interesting contrast. Like watching him and Vincent Garber work together, you would think just makes no sense and wouldn't work, but it totally works. You know, those two guys hold that whole show together.
By the way, I still think my theory about Stein is still holding.
Your theory was, remind me again?
He's going slowly insane, and eventually he's going to be the bad.
Oh, yes, right. Okay.
Because that's still working. Because they're still making... Stein is still doing questionable choices.
Well, I think Arthur Darvill's great in that, too. So
yeah.
Best Doctor Who ever.
And... And I think what we were talking about before, where they're slowly continuing to commit more to the insanity, which is nice.
Yep. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's good to see him sort of get his props too, because up until now, people know him from Doctor Who, and then everything else on stage are Broadchurch, and this is like something different for him to a larger mainstream audience, which I think is really good. So, because he's a nice guy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I unless they don't stick the landing, I'm really hoping they get a season 2 just so I can watch them blow the show up.
Well, the other nice thing too is that he didn't do it. He's not doing an American accent, which is great. He's just like,
no, he's not.
Which I think is great. So, which sort of reverses this trend of English actors doing American accents on TV. So.
But it's a fun show. I've enjoyed it so far, and I'm really not into the DC side of the house. I mean, Supergirl, I tried to
not at all,
but
really.
I have heard good things about these. I have not watched it, but I have heard plenty of good things that they seem to be not subscribing to the grim and gritty shit that we're going to get from like Batman v Superman.
See, that's why I wanted to watch that show, but then I can't get into like any of it at all. You know. I appreciate the tone, but it's not something I'm not already getting from Flash and Legends, so it's sort of like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard. You mean Supergirl?
Supergirl, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched some of it, and I read a review that really has a very good.
And I think she's great.
Oh no, that's the thing. She's great, but they haven't really figured out what to do per se with it. I don't think.
Well, it's early. Arrow, the first season of Arrow, they didn't really know what to do with him either, and it kind of.
Yeah, Arrow didn't figure itself out. Flash is the only one that kind of from the gate worked.
It had Arrow to use as like, okay, don't do this.
Yeah.
So they could sort of use.
But
that.
Flash was trying to be different from Arrow, so they could go in a different direction with tone, and they could go a different direction with. And all sorts of things. They could just say, don't be that, because we have that already. And the thing that even with the CW shows, and again, what Legends of Tomorrow is doing really well, I think, is just embracing the insanity of the concept, because that's what you have to do if you're the show between Flash and Arrow.
And I'll be really interested to see what they do with the crossover.
Well, it's not necessarily a crossover, it's just the Flash is showing up on Supergirl. That's it.
Yeah, still, but technically...
She's not reciprocating, Scott.
You know, they kind of...
Wow. See, Scott doesn't hear that sentence very often.
I know. I just thought I'd throw that in.
You should always reciprocate. That's just polite.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but have we not, in this really awful shit of a new year called 2016, have we had a Rock Lobster yet?
Well, we're getting one now.
Rock Lobster.
There.
Everybody's rocking. Everybody's going.
Nice. So, Yeah, no, I tried to watch all three of the other shows, and I think of them, The Flash was the closest, but
Yeah.
it's just, like I said, my time to watch television is so limited. I have to reserve it for stuff that's really good, or stuff that the 1 million moms convinced me to watch, like Lucifer.
See, no, I'm not even. I don't care.
I have
Hey, you know who's enjoying Lucifer?
People who don't change the channel after the X-Files?
Anton LaVey?
My grandmother.
So she really isn't changing the channel after the X-Files?
She isn't watching the X-Files. She was never into it to begin with. So, no, she's watching Lucifer.
Nice.
Yeah, I was surprised too, but it's like, okay.
That's what we need. TV reviews from Scott's grandma. That would be great.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Again, I'm fine with eating breadsticks and watching Satan, because it was okay. It was fun enough, but it didn't make the cut. But then 1 Million Moms did more than Fox to get me to watch that show, so I'm gonna have to catch up on it.
Because I feel we're defaming moms by using that term for those people.
Well, they are technically moms.
They're moms in quotes.
The part of that that is most in question is the 1 million part, because I think their petition to get Fox to drop the show had like 11,000 signatures on it or something. So yeah.
All they have to do is convince the people who watch Minority Report, the same number of people who watch Minority Report, to watch Lucifer, and that'll guarantee it gets canceled.
Oh God. What was it? How far did I get into Minority Report? I know Z Nation. I made 17 minutes and then stopped. Minority Report. I think if they had billed it as a comedy, it probably would have worked for me better, because it was definitely a comedy.
And then what was the other what Second Chances? Didn't they kill that off after 3 episodes?
They killed it off before I knew what the hell it was. What is it?
Yeah.
What is Second Chances?
Second Chances is, and I believe it's the guy that's in Warcraft, and he was it was some procedural about a guy getting some sort of technology that made him younger, or they transplanted.
Yeah, so a guy died and they resurrected him from death.
Yeah.
And in the process, he gained super strength, yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically $6 Million Man with resurrection.
But he had he had the memories of his
yeah
previous life.
But it's the guy who's in the Warcraft movie. I forget the actor's name, but that's who that is.
Wouldn't it be great if there was a typo on the pitch for that show and he actually had the memories of his previous wife?
And his previous wife was still alive? That would be really awkward.
Wow, I was really addicted to her.
So okay, here's the test though.
That's not the grinder, just in case you're wondering.
Here's the test. Here's the test. Was the character's name Chance?
I don't know. I didn't.
Okay, but you know that would have, if it was in the 80s or maybe the early 90s, his name would have been Chance, and you know it.
Yeah. But
and if you brought it back and did a sequel to it, you could call it Chancer, and it could star Clive Owen.
Yes, but everything stars Clive Owen, and it doesn't help.
What was the last thing Clive Owen was in, actually?
He's in something coming out.
He's on something on cable.
He's in the London the President film, isn't it?
London's
Fallen?
Oh, yeah.
Was he in that? Okay, I didn't know. The last thing I knew he did was The Nick, that TV show.
Now, is that still going on? Because
that's still going on.
Okay.
Or this may have been the last series of it. We don't know.
Okay.
It hasn't been renewed yet, and the way it was left, well.
I think the last major. Well, let me see. I say that. He was in a couple of indie films in 2013.
He's a bit of a Jude Law in the sense that he was in everything for a while and then just kind of disappeared for a little bit.
Well, he did. He was in Hemingway and Gellhorn with directed by Philip Kaufman with Nicole Kidman. That was 2012. That got a lot of nominations.
But not a lot of views.
Well, these days, get one and get the other. But yeah, he's
Although I
probably busy with the Nick because he was also the executive producer on that.
Yeah, with Soderbergh. Yeah.
And you hear Brian Fuller has been announced as the new showrunner for the new Star Trek show?
That makes me 100% more interested in that damn show.
He was a writer on Voyager, if I'm correct. My memory
Deep Space
serves me.
Nine, actually.
Oh,
Deep Space Nine.
okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good, because if it was Voyager, I would give up on the show immediately.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying I'm 100% more interested because he did some really good episodes on Deep Space Nine. So I am 100% more interested in that.
Deep Space Nine, the best Star Trek episode ever, or series ever, rather.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's nice that they have someone who was involved in the originals come and work on this and be a head guy on this too, because like, I was worried it would be of the tone of the new movies just in a TV show form.
Well, they haven't said yet, if they're throwing a lot of Fuller quotes out about this because nobody's really talking yet. But they had asked him about this, or his Star Trek idea, I guess, came up in a couple of Hannibal interviews, where he had pitched a couple of things like he said he had a very specific thing in mind if he ever got to do it, and he likes the idea of the JJ verse, and he was interested in the idea of what would next gen be like. In the JJ verse, how different would that be?
Yeah.
So
now, would he have the flexibility to do that?
Don't know.
Well, I mean, if the movies, are they going to try to create some sort of like what they have with Marvel? It's like the movies do like original series, the show does next gen, but they have to coordinate to make sure that one doesn't counteract the other.
Well, the other thing that they had picked up out of some of his quotes, apparently he had talked a lot about this while they were talking about Hannibal. And apparently the other idea he had thrown about was something having to do with the Reliant, the show, the actually being the ship in the television show, and that the Enterprise would stay in the movies.
No, that makes sense. It would be.
And that may have been a joke he had about that, but he said he had an idea about doing a television show based on that ship for some reason. And since, of course, Khan doesn't actually, in the new verse, Khan actually doesn't do, that's not that ship, so that's not the ship Khan hijacks.
This is not the ship you're looking for.
And
crossing the streams.
So he wouldn't have hijacked it for the next 20 years or so, 15, whatever it is in the show.
Okay.
But,
real quick, back to Clive Owen for a second.
Oh.
We've got lost in Clive Owen's IMDb.
Clive Owen is the next captain. What?
No. So in 2017, apparently this is shooting right now. Luc Besson is doing another space science fiction film called Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets.
Oh yeah.
With Dan DeHaan, whatever, the guy who was young Osborn in the Amazing Spider-Man series. Cara, people with these weird names. Cara Delevingne, whatever. She's the Enchantress in Suicide Squad. With also Clive Owen, according to Wikipedia, which is always right, Ethan Hawke, Rihanna, and Herbie Hancock.
As the Beaver.
Really?
But Mila's not in it? How can it be one of his if Mila's not in it?
Well, Mila hasn't been in a lot of them,
Kidding.
Hasn't she?
No, she's She's been in quite a few of them actually.
Well, no, I know she's been in a few of them, but I mean,
taken up on Resident Evil.
well, but they've been like divorced for 7 years, so.
That's never
we
stopped
had a-
anyone, Wedge.
For some reason in my head, I thought you meant Mila Kunis for a second, and I was like,
No, again, different pipes.
Oh, whoa. So okay, so that's interesting.
That's that mystery solved.
That's that mystery solved.
But
Anybody
yeah,
else got another mystery?
But yeah,
Solve it.
I'm definitely 100% more
solve this.
in the Brian Fuller run Star Trek. Although, what's the other show he's doing? He's also involved with something else.
What?
Right now, after hearing that Warren Ellis really wanted to do Columbo, I want somebody completely crazy to do Columbo. Yeah, I'd like the person behind Pushing Daisies to do Columbo.
That's Brian Fuller.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would like that. Because Pushing Daisies was just weird enough for Columbo. Although I did.
Who would you get to be Columbo though?
Mark Ruffalo.
Really?
Ooh.
Okay. I can kind of see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually really good.
That's what they've been talking about for a while. So.
Really?
Wait, Mark Ruffalo as Columbo? They've literally been talking about that?
Yeah, because he said at some show that he really wanted to play Columbo. So it's kind of.
How did we stumble into this then?
That's how
I'm
it
pretty
works.
sure no one set out to.
Welcome to Weekend Justice, John. Hope you survived the experience. No, seriously. That's what this podcast is really all about. Yep, that's right. No, you know what they need to do with it to work with his schedule is to do it like Luther and do like feature, just feature-length TV movies.
Yeah, like they used to do.
No, I thought the most recent Luther was two TV movies.
No. I meant how they used to do Columbo.
How they used to do Columbo.
Oh, right. Yes.
So then we'd also have to bring back Banachek, wouldn't we?
Ooh.
But here's the question.
Liam Neeson.
Here's the question.
Liam Neeson is Banachek.
No, check this out. Here's the question. Do you have Kate Mulgrew in a cameo?
Yes.
No.
Oh, hell yes.
Why not?
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny.
Explain yourself.
Should you be a killer in an episode?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's going to have to pick up Roddy McDowell's slack.
Good point.
How many times was he the killer in fucking Columbo episodes? Or it just seemed like that?
And he was also Satan on Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
Oh, and they'd have to have Shatner.
Oh, and there was that one time Johnny Cash was the murderer?
Yes.
Spoilers.
Oh, come on.
I was just about to watch that episode.
He wrote a whole song about it, you guys. Come on, he did it just to watch him die?
That's true. Now, Scott, you know why I'm saying Kate Mulgrew should have a cameo, right?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Just making sure.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Are you pitching for an Orange is the New Black crossover?
Yeah, there you go. There's
Columbo put all of them in that prison.
Oh my God!
That refreshes every 15 minutes on Weekend Justice.
Although,
they do with.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say they do with Columbo what they were going to do with Green Arrow before the television series.
Oh wow.
Oh, the Max.
I am reading.
Max,
I am reading that they're going to do what their CBS is going to do another MacGyver show.
Really?
Yeah, they've greenlit a young MacGyver show.
Like a young Indiana Jones, but it's
Yeah.
young MacGyver.
Wait! They've done a young MacGyver show.
Have
There
they?
was a pilot. Yeah, there was a pilot.
Yeah, well, apparently, I don't know if this is the same thing, but CBS is.
Are they really? I mean, he's going to be in like college, or he's going to look at.
That was Doogie Howser, Widge.
No. It was a television movie starring
David Hasselhoff
Jared
playing a
Padalecki.
13-year-old.
That would be great. Oh, yes. It was starring a very young Sam Winchester from Supernatural.
Okay, so not that, but CBS is going to do that because there's also going to be a MacGyver feature film, so they want to keep adult MacGyvers separate.
Oh, for a shared universe.
Oh, God.
Yes.
See, okay, here's a shared universe we need. All right? This is what we need. We need to bring back, like, Manimal and Automan and Street Hawk and...
Which...
What?
No, all you're doing is basically creating an early 80s version of the League of Extraordinary
Beastmaster?
That is exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, John, thank you.
You know what you're going to end up getting? You're going to end up getting the Turbo Teen film, Wedge. That's what you're going to get. You want all of those things, you're getting Turbo Teen. Congratulations.
I think that's,
And Justin Lin's going to do it.
Toughly, I think that's a nice metaphor for life, really, because I think that's something we should pass down to new generations. You want all of those things, but you're going to get the Turbo Teen movie. In fact, I think you could just shorten it to, well, looks like you got the Turbo Teen movie on that one. I think we should all use that in conversation this coming week.
Aren't the Transformers movies the basically modern equivalent?
Of what? The Turbo Teen movie?
Yeah, this is like, well, it looks like you got a Transformers franchise.
Now I could see them.
He has to go to Starbucks.
Oh my God!
He has to go to Starbucks to turn into the car.
Oh Jesus! You know what though, Aaron, is that you could have in the next Transformers movie, you could have them figure out how to turn a kid into a Transformer, and thus you have Turbo Teen. We've spliced your DNA with that of Optimus Prime. Oh God, that hurts. Yeah. No. Speaking of which, okay, here's what I want to know. I think I may have mentioned this before. Who the hell has the rights to the GoBot movie? Because somebody does.
Well, is it Hanna-Barbera that owns the characters? I mean, who had the toys?
Let's see.
Tonka
had the toys.
Okay.
Because aren't Hasbro and Mattel merging anyway?
Oh.
Now, you have heard the thing about Mask and
Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it's not going to include Transformers, but it's going to be Mask and G.I. Joe and something else that are actually going to be a shared universe.
Yeah, I did hear about that, but no. Apparently, GoBots are owned by Hasbro now, so that's the reason why, because they already have the Transformers. That's funny.
It's not funny.
Oh wait, no. The Hasbro owns the fictional sides. Okay, yeah. The actual toys and their likenesses were licensed from Bandai in the 1980s. Were not covered by the Tonka acquisition and are not available for Hasbro use. So they own the character names, bios, and storylines. So really, they should be putting out GoBots novels.
So it's like Harmony Gold and Robotech then?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Because in this country, Harmony Gold can release as much Robotech as they want, but in Japan, they can't because Toho owns Macross.
Right.
My head hurts.
And where the hell is my Robotech movie anyway?
It's never going to happen, Wedge.
Nobody cares about Robotech.
Die!
It's all Pokemans.
No, they made Battleship. Again, you want Robotech, you get Turbo Teen.
You're going to get the Turbo Teen movie.
You're gonna get Rubik's The Amazing Cube, and you're gonna fucking love it.
You're gonna get Donkey Kong Country. Not even Donkey Kong. Not even Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong Country.
You're gonna get Diddy Kong. That's what you're gonna get. And bongos.
Hey,
Bongos.
Oh my God. So really, is anything happening on these other shared universes, or is everyone kind of waiting to see the DC cinematic universe explode?
I know the Robin Hood thing is happening.
No,
They're doing the Robin Hood one.
Are they in production? Are they?
Because that film is coming out.
Okay.
Well, what are they sharing Robin Hood with?
No, it's supposed to be a bunch of films.
Some Princes of Thieves.
More Robin Hoods.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, other characters, they're in the Robin Hood lore that are all going to get films.
Oh, so it'll be like a Little John film.
Yeah, there'll be a Little John film and a Friar Tuck film.
Yeah, that's gonna sell. Do people not understand that you have to have individual fans for each franchise that they're trying to merge? Like, there's not a lot of Little John.
And then we just talked about the G.I.
These are
Joe
old
mask
white
thing.
guys in boardrooms. They don't have any idea what's going on.
Well, also the plus with the Robin Hood stuff is that it's public domain, so they don't have to pay anybody for the license.
This is true.
Yeah.
Considering, what was it? I'm looking at an article here on Den of Geek talking about that they count 10 different films based on Robin Hood.
Yeah.
From Sony and Disney, both called Hood. A Robin Hood Origins film, which is, surely this is not, okay, no. Warner Brothers has a film. There is the DreamWorks Merry Men film and a Robin Hood 2058, a future version.
There's a lot of Robin Hoods in development. I know there is one currently filming that has a release date. And I believe that's the shared universe one.
Let's see. I haven't seen. So apart from Robin Hood,
yeah,
which I'm trying to look up right now, is anything else going forward currently? Or again, are they waiting to watch DC implode?
I think DC imploding is an expectation instead of a. I think Warner's is going to be surprised if it doesn't implode.
Really?
That's kind of what the attitude appears to be over there, or at least the comments they're making. Because with them, they're hoping to at least get 2 hits out of this, and it's not necessarily they know that Suicide Squad's going to be at least fairly successful. They think. They really hope Wonder Woman hits. They don't seem to care as much about Batman Superman though. Because it's kind of
terrible.
But you see where it's been pushed to the side a bit, because now all the attention is going to, well, not even Wonder Woman, but Suicide Squad at least. A lot of the attention has gone to Suicide Squad because, Batman Superman's coming out, next month?
Yeah, but they know what looks like will make them money, I think, at this point. They know what looks like a good movie. I think Suicide Squad has got the better chance of making the money at this point.
Well, it costs less, so by default it has to be. And Wonder Woman's going to cost less than that. So...
Yeah, and part of the problem, too, is that you've got...
And at least Wonder Woman's got, at least Chris Pine, at least is at least actor recognition. So.
Well, and I think maybe they've finally learned from the fact that they're never going to have another Nolan Batman box office that they feel like they deserve, because they always overestimate what they're going to get, and they're never happy with anything that they get. when it comes to their big ticket heroes. Let's see. Okay, Hood. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So there. No. This is completely different. This is like a guy coming home to Chicago after being in the Army, and then finding that it's turned into an urban battleground. So he becomes basically a modern-day Robin Hood in Chicago. That's the movie Hood.
Yep.
You know what? I would completely watch that as a shared universe. I just want to put that out there right now.
Although what was it? How many Jungle Books were being developed at one point or another? I know there were at least two, and two of them are actually in production. One of them the Disney one's gonna come out.
Right.
The other one, I don't know. I don't know if it's still coming out or not.
Well, we know that they're going to put out a direct-to-DVD thing of a knockoff version, so that version is obviously happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where you go to the grocery store and there's a rack that has stuff like Ice Princess.
Book of the Jungle.
Yes. Red heads with bows and arrows.
Tyler Perry's Book of the Jungle, based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
That's terrible.
But I would totally watch it.
My apologies.
So yeah, I can't find anything about the Sony Hood movie. I mean, among their future stuff.
I mean, does Spider-Man even count now as a separate thing, since it's technically going to be MCU?
No.
Yeah, because that's coming.
I'm interested. I'd say he's like in the Civil War movie for like 10 seconds, because they're really not showing him in any trailers whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah. Or it could be It could be a post-credit scene.
Maybe. I just have a feeling it'll be like they'll have a shot of like, and this guy's at home, and then back to the action.
Yeah, Aaron, he's watching the battle on television and goes, "Oh man, I ain't getting involved in that shit."
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out. Whose side are you on? Mine. I'm out.
He's the Beyonce of the Civil War film. That's the performance.
Because he's barely in it, but will steal all the attention.
Yes.
Nice. So yeah, I watched I did see the Civil War commercial. I dig Tony's Morphin Iron Man glove. That was cool.
Yeah.
And I saw the Jason Bourne commercial. And can I just say, like when I remember Bourne Identity, which I really enjoyed. And I remember thinking, yeah, Matt Damon's kind of pumped. He doesn't look like a full-on killer, though. In this, he looks pretty goddamn deadly.
Well, I think that was the thing I thought that kind of made the first two work, because he didn't look buff.
No. But to see him now, you just go, oh shit.
Yeah, but he doesn't look anything like Jeremy Renner. That's such a cheat.
But it's kind of what annoys me about that kind of buffness, though, is that, like you said, it's the original. He looked fit and looked like he could do the things he was doing, but he didn't look like he worked out in the gym every day for like just to make it look like he had big muscles. Because it's not the same as having actual strength.
Well, I think don't forget back when he was a spy, if he looked jacked, he would be more noticeable. Now he doesn't give a shit, so he's like.
Yeah, but that sort of look is only achieved to get that look. It's not achieved through training and strength. It's not. It's achieved out of
So basically, you're saying of the Bourne films, this is the Rambo 3 of the Bourne films.
It just looks like it's gonna be the dumbest one.
So you're saying it's the Rambo 3?
Yeah.
Wow, that's. Aaron, that's a bold statement considering Bourne Legacy was pretty goddamn dumb.
Well, I don't count the Renner one.
Okay.
No one except my wife counts the Renner one.
Yeah, exactly.
And we know why.
And we know why. It has absolutely nothing to do with plot or
Does she
story.
count it on her hand?
Oh.
Well, I'm seeing.
She's probably too busy with it.
Whoa.
Oh.
Hello. Actually, you know what, Aaron, I'm seeing some shots of him like full shots of him, and I'm mostly going off of the fact that his demeanor looks really mean, but he doesn't look completely cut. He just looks very, very trim, like he's been, I don't know, fighting a lot, which apparently he's been doing.
He just has that like 4% body fat look thing going on.
No, not really. Not really.
I think
he's been trapped on Mars for a few months, Widge? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, he looks like he's been stranded on a deserted planet for months. That's why. Oh, there you go.
What a funny movie, though, guys. What a funny movie. What a comedy.
Being forced to listen to nothing but ABBA. If they had just left it that film with that premise, that would have been such a different movie. Trapped on a planet with nothing but ABBA.
So you could call it Mamma Mia Martian? Sorry. Sorry, that one's on me.
I'm just mad that you came up with a better pun than I could have. I was trying to figure out some sort of dancing queen space-like thing, and I just wasn't getting anywhere.
True praise. True praise.
The winner takes all.
So what else? Has anyone else finished Jessica Jones? Because
baby.
Oh, so you weren't here when we talked about it. What do you? Is anyone else watching it that we need to be careful what we talk about, or what?
I haven't seen it, but I don't care. It's fine.
Okay.
I know what happens. I've kind of seen most of it, but I skipped and I know what happens. So ahead.
Okay. All right. So Aaron, what do you think?
I loved it, and actually in the end I think I liked it more than I liked Daredevil.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that.
Interestingly, I think watching Jessica Jones made me like Daredevil more. And I'll tell you why. Is because when I see what they've done at the end, because the end of the Daredevil series kind of bugged me because it went very superhero when it hadn't before. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know they were doing the Miller shot of him on the building, and I know what that was. But I was like, that just didn't fit with the rest of the series.
But they needed to do that to get to Jessica Jones.
But no, not even that. So it was like the last shot of both series is the core of what they are. So you have Daredevil being that guy, right? And you have Jessica Jones alone in her, not alone in her office, but in her office, somebody else answering the phones, basically saying, no, we need to now start helping people, with a long shot down the hallway, leaving her very small and looking alone. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. So contrasting that with the end of Daredevil, I actually want to watch Daredevil again so I can go, okay, I see how they're tying this together with more stuff besides just Rosario Dawson.
Well, we're only 1 month out from the new Daredevil series, aren't we?
I think that's right. Isn't it? Is it April? Hang on.
I thought it was March.
Hang on.
It's coming out the same weekend as Batman v Superman.
Yeah, so it's March.
Okay.
It's kind of like a week before, but yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm good with that.
But yeah, so it's interesting now from here because Luke Cage's series looks ready, set to go, and I'm actually really excited about that because I thought he was great in this.
Oh yeah.
Iron Fist keeps getting pushed
they
back.
recast him though. They recast Luke Cage. Chris Tucker's gonna be Luke Cage.
Fuck off.
Fuck you.
Are we getting Jessica Jones season 2 before Defenders now? Or
I don't know.
I think so. I think their original plan for the whole Defenders thing has kind of been thrown out the window now because they were never planning to make a second Daredevil season.
Yeah, they were never They were just going to make one season of each of these things, and then Defenders, and then that was it. But
yeah,
they weren't planning on making a Punisher series either, and now they're
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now part of it is though, if they are going to take their time getting to Defenders, I think they have to do Defenders because they set up the seeds of it in Daredevil season 1 with the Madame Gao or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
With her, which lovely understated bit of, oh yeah, I'm just mystical and stuff, and I'm out. It's like, whoa, what?
Yeah,
so she was great.
I would still much rather prefer Heroes for Hire, though.
I would love to do Heroes for Hire as well, but the thing is, I like this idea that you could do, because Defenders was never supposed to be a permanent team.
Well, no.
It was always just they come together when they need to, and the rest of the time they're just doing their own thing. So you could do Defenders.
I'm still trying to figure out who the mystical character for Defenders would be, because you have to have one.
Well, Iron Fist.
Yeah, he's kind of mystical. He's got like a kind of dragon-based like power.
Yeah, no, I think it's Iron Fist because Iron Fist.
Okay.
You've set up. I think
is he supposed to have been training in Kunlun or whatever it's called?
Yeah, something like that. But it depends on which version of him they're going to use.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I was thinking I wasn't thinking Iron Fist as the mystical character, but it was either, I remember the comics, it was either Strange or Ghost Rider.
Yeah, they had both.
Yeah. But I think it's Iron Fist because
have Ghost Rider now.
Yeah, Marvel has the rights to Ghost Rider.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Marvel has the rights back, so that's the other thing
I would just love to see.
We're not going to get Ghost Rider at some point here.
Oh, we are, and I'm fine with that. I'm just like, they played a terrible trick on me by putting Idris Elba in the second one, which meant I had to go see it. And God, that was awful. But
we'll go to that in a second. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think you could, out of Defenders, get Heroes for Hire. I mean, so I like this idea that you can have essentially these seasons of stuff are basically like could be seen as either a graphic novel or a limited series, like in comics.
Yeah.
And then you could, you could do Daredevil season 2 and then Defenders and then something else and then come back and maybe do a season 3 of Daredevil if you felt like it,
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Well, I suspect what they're going to do with S.H.I.E.L.D. is it's going to split up, and one's going to become, the Secret Warrior show, and the other one's going to be the Mockingbird Hunter show is going to be more of the spy stuff.
Yeah, you were saying that, and
it'll be interesting to see if they try to do little bits from. We haven't seen anything from the Netflix shows show up in the ABC shows yet. And I'm not talking like full cameos.
I don't think you're going to get, There's
think they won't do even little bits, like little mentions here and there?
Well, you can have mentions, because, they've been mentioning
the
MCU stuff in the Netflix shows.
Right, but they haven't mentioned anything like...
You see, because the
Hell's
TV...
Kitchen becomes what it is because of the Avengers. Basically.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we haven't really seen any mention of Netflix stuff in like the main.
Well, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't because it's street level. I mean, outside of New York, you probably the only thing out of the events of Daredevil season 1 and Jessica Jones season 1 you would probably hear about would be the Kingpin getting arrested, basically. And maybe if that. But
that's still kind of small potatoes compared to what
Yeah,
Shield and the Avengers deal with.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about just in the MCU at large.
Yeah.
Just if I'm a person living in like Los Angeles in the MCU, I think you'd get some mention of it, and maybe a brief mention of some costumed weirdo in New York. But what else is new? Because they're everywhere, and because of the 24-hour news cycle, right?
Yeah.
Where you gotta fill time.
The biggest opportunity to have kind of crossover people would be more so with villains, in the sense of like if Kilgrave was still around, he would have been a perfect guy to show up as a bad guy in an episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know what I mean? Like someone who was causing problems that S.H.I.E.L.D. had to get rid of. I know.
But what you could have though is you could have.
But he's come back from the dead before, so that's not necessarily a.
That's true. That's very true.
I'm just thinking that what you do is you have the chemicals that basically made him are still around somewhere, and you could get someone with Kilgrave-esque powers.
Well, I feel like that's what like a lot of Luke Cage's season is going to be about as well, though.
Well, a lot of that was centered on season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though, too.
Yeah, and I will say, you're talking about really liking Luke Cage. I really liked him. Like 30 minutes into his first appearance in the series, I was like, oh yeah, they cast him well. And then
10 minutes in, I was like that.
No, but then something like 8 episodes in where he gets pissed, I was like, oh shit! Oh, people are about to die! Oh shit! Yeah.
No, I'm really excited for more of him.
I can't wait. But see, here's what I still maintain: that for Infinity War to work, you got to have all hands on deck, right? Because you've got to have pretty much any hero standing has to go up against Thanos, or they have to have disappeared.
There's some sort of insane number of heroes that they're going to have in that, aren't there?
Well, they have to.
It's like I thought I said like somewhere around 200.
Well, they've changed the schedule now so that Captain Marvel and Inhumans come before the second Avengers film. So.
Because my theory is that because there's still a lot of.
You mean third, Tuffley?
Huh?
Do you mean third Avengers film?
No. There's 2 Infinity War films, so that would technically be the 4th Avengers film, right?
Yeah. So I was talking about the second Infinity War film.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So between the first Infinity War, you have Captain Marvel and Inhumans, because originally Inhumans was going to be after Avengers, and now it's not after Avengers. It's in between. I think because they made room for Spider-Man and they pushed a bunch of stuff back.
Right.
Yeah, Marvel got pushed back and stuff because of Spider-Man.
Yeah. And also Disney had to do some schedule tweaking because they moved Star Wars.
67 characters will be featured in Infinity War.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Because 35 will get blinked out of existence in one scene.
Well, basically...
Everybody who's at the end of their contracts.
No, honestly, Aaron, I think that's what's going to happen. You could have people you just want to have in a cameo because you can't afford them, Tony. You could have them basically just gone. Now, and Tuffley, see if you concur with this. I'm still thinking that you would have the assembly of the gauntlet in part 1, and then the actual throwdown is part 2.
Yeah, I think you have all the heroes make their appearance in the first film. Everybody shows up in the first film, and then I think we've talked about this before. Where you end it is when half the universe gets blinked out of existence. That's where you end it. That's where you end it. That's where you end it, and then you can go to Captain Marvel and Inhumans, and it works. And then what's left of the band gets put back together for part 2.
Right, and as long as again,
and we know Cap, and for that to work, I think Cap has to survive to part 2, right? So
he fucking better, because that is the one thing I want from Infinity War, Marvel. I want my Cap versus Thanos moment.
Yeah.
Because I was never a big fan of 616 Captain America. When Ultimate Cap came out, I much preferred Ultimate Cap. But 616 Cap, last man standing against Thanos, I was like, oh, now that is ballsy.
And see, the thing is, I would have thought after the Infinity War stuff that they'd go with Falcon Cap for a while, or even Bucky Cap. But since now they're going to since even in the comics they're putting Steve Rogers back in the character, I don't know. I guess that they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, because now they're going to have 2 Captain Americas.
Well, it's working with Spider-Man.
Yeah, but that's a little bit different. Miles is a little more established than Sam got a chance to as Cap.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little unfair.
Well, it is, but I mean, the original always has to come back. I mean,
and
that's
well,
unfortunately
and the other thing in the case of Spider-Man as well. I mean, Miles was in a completely different universe where at one point he was the only Spider-Man because the other guy was dead. So.
Well, in fairness, Captain's been dead a couple of times recently, so.
And I mean, basically, if I understand the premise of the other of the Peter book now, they're basically doing what Spider-Man did in the '80s, where Peter goes to Europe.
Spider-Man, trouble in Jamaica.
Wasn't that the whole fucking point of Spider-Man?
I don't know. I haven't read any Peter Spider-Man books in a very long time. I'm looking forward to the new Miles.
Yes,
I am looking forward to it.
I've been looking at it. Supposedly he owns the Baxter building now or something?
Sure.
Well, the Fantastic Four have been kind of blinked out of Marvel existence right now in the comics.
Well, yeah,
sort of. Reed has.
Thing is with Guardians, and Human Torch is what, with the Avengers or something?
Yeah, but
Uncanny and Humans.
Reed and Sue and the kids are gone.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Which, I know everybody was making a big deal of because of them, wanting to fuck with Fox, but I'm like, really, you do need to let the Fantastic Four rest, because I actually agree with them. I mean, because Fantastic Four is one of the most misused titles in Marvel. They keep forgetting what it's there for.
Well, I think I like the Fraction title. I liked the Fraction book, FF.
Yeah.
I was the opposite. I liked Hickman's run on it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, mostly, and I have to be honest. Okay, really, it was because of the mostly because of the art. Because
you like Bagley?
Allred.
It was Allred. Sorry.
Allred was in the FF book, which was great. But then
That's
they
right.
gave
Bagley was doing the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, but then they gave. But then they let Allred do Surfer, which is so good. But. That is such a fun book. I love that book. So I don't mind not having that book anymore. But I did appreciate that. I thought the Fraction FF book was fun.
Well, I will say, having read Secret Wars, not really understanding Secret Wars, but having read Secret Wars.
Nobody understands Secret Wars. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the one thing I'll say about Hickman is, I appreciate his epic scope, because they set that up a long fucking time ago. What led to the Secret Wars? So I appreciate pre-planning. I'm like, well done for. I don't understand what the fuck you did, but well done for holding it together for that long.
He caused some problems because he wrote some extra issues to try and write it the way he wanted it, and caused delays in doing so, and blah blah blah. But I think he is the most adventurous writer at Marvel at the moment.
Well, is he not? Is he still at Marvel? I thought he left after Secret Wars.
I don't think he has another book lined up. No.
I think he's got a bunch of Image books. I think he's doing creator-owned stuff now after post Secret Wars.
Well,
I don't know if he's left as in like he has no plans to come back though. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. And here's what was interesting about the delays for Secret Wars, is I read an interview with one of the Mucky New Bucks at Marvel. I forget which one, and his point was well taken in that. We wanted to keep the integrity of the art, and now that it's a series, and now that it's out, from now until the end of time, there are going to be no delays. People will read it as one book, and we think that having the art be good, which the art was really good. I'll say that it was really good. So basically they're saying that the trade paperback people are who they fucking care about.
Yeah.
And you single issue people, well, fuck you and your expectations.
Well, the only problem with that is what that's done is it's affected Marvel's sales for All New, All Different.
They're new rollout.
Because they've had a really hard time moving those books, because a lot of people were waiting for the end of Secret Wars because they didn't want to be they were afraid of being spoiled.
Well, and the other thing too is having looked at what the lineup of All New, All Different is, it is really all different to the point where I'm like, I don't. Because to me, this would seem like the logical jumping on point for something, right?
Yeah.
But I look at these books and I go, I don't know enough to get on these books, and this is where I'm supposed to get on if I wanted to.
Well, interestingly, I think maybe some of these books are basically just the same creative staff picking up from before Civil War. That's coming. Before Secret Wars. The Howard the Duck guys are coming back. They're basically picking up and pretending Secret Wars didn't happen, although they're going to make a couple of jokes about it. But go ahead.
I was before Secret Wars. I was buying kind of X-Men and Avengers. I was buying some of the kind of core titles.
Yeah.
And now the only ones I'm picking up are ones that weren't there before. Like I'm picking up Doctor Strange's solo series, Power Fist and Iron Man, which I think was out this week, and the new Miles in the main main Marvel Universe title, which he was the Ultimate character before.
Yeah.
And it's because the classic Marvel titles that I was reading before have such different lineups and such different looks that they don't seem as interesting to me. They don't seem like things that I'm that bothered by. Like, I don't care about the new Avengers lineup, but it's not a crew that excite me.
You mean lineups? Because aren't there 15?
Yeah.
Although I am interested. I'll tell you, I am interested in the book where Sunspot buys AIM. That just seems funny.
Yeah, they had set that up in the Avengers run a little bit before. But yeah, it's I like the Sunspot doing anything. It's been a long time since he's been a character of focus at all.
Yeah, like Sunspot buys AIM, and like his Avengers are like almost become Black Ops Avengers. So,
did you see? There was a one shot they did, which was like Hank Johnson, Agent of Hydra.
Yes.
I love that comic so much.
Great.
I wish they made that into a proper ongoing. I thought that was great.
But yeah, I thought that was great. That was funny. Liked that. What is the thing? So yeah, Howard the Duck's coming back with basically Zdarsky, which is fine because that book was fun. I enjoyed that.
Ms. Marvel has pretty much the same crew as well.
Yeah, Ms. Marvel has the same creative staff. I mean, the Miles Spidey book is going to be Bendis and the original artist that started with Miles.
Yeah, Sarah Pichelli, I think her name is.
Yeah, Sarah Pichelli. So that feels familiar. I think it's the same Thor. I think the same creative staff for Thor. I think everybody else got mixed around though.
Yeah, Dan Slott is still on, Amazing Spider-Man.
The Peter book, the not Web of Spider-Man book.
Mm.
I'm serious. That really does kind of bug me. That reminds me of like Web of Spider-Man from the 80s.
Well, they did bring Ben Reilly back, so.
Yeah, or it's like stories about Peter not being in New York. Like would you remember this? All of the Spider-Man books in the 80s had kind of like a different take on it because Amazing was the continuing book in New York, and then Web of Spider-Man was like the more adult title, and then Spectacular was the anthology book.
Right. So that's what they're kind of doing again.
It from the sound of it, I don't know. The Slott book kind of what Peter's in Europe now. I don't know.
But they have is it like Spider Squads where they have like all the alternative universe Spider-Man?
Oh, Spider-Verse. Well, Spider-Gwen, and the Spider-Gwen title's actually pretty cool. I like that. I liked that. I don't know what they're doing with it post-Secret Wars, but pre-Secret Wars it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's still going. Same crew. Jason Latour is still doing it.
Yeah. So another book where the creative staff is exactly the same, and it's getting a new #1.
which hasn't affected sales hugely, but it hasn't been great for sales either.
It hasn't been great for sales, and I mean, again, I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but if you look at even on the DC side of things, where people are now staying away from the New 52 and they're just going to wait for the relaunch, and there are a lot of people who don't really care about the DC relaunch again. So
what? Okay, so what is happening with that? Because I thought Convergence was supposed to bring back the multiverse.
Well, they did, except that nobody really fucking cares because at this point, there haven't been enough dots connected. Not only have there not, or at least the comment that I've seen, not only have they not connected all of the dots, but since not all of the original 52 books survived, there aren't enough dots left to connect everything.
Okay. So what is the relaunch supposed to do then?
The relaunch, I don't fully understand this. It's not going to be 52 titles. I think they're reducing the line, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It sounds like they're reducing the line where it's only the core titles. And like, well, I say that, but there's still going to be 15 Batman titles. But it looks like it's going to be just the core titles, but not like not every conceivable incarnation of Justice League that no one cared about to begin with. I think some of the Vertigo books are going to go back to being Vertigo books instead of trying to be mainline. I don't know, but I know.
So we don't know what the fuck's happening.
No, but basically everything's going to relaunch. I don't know what continuity it's going to be under. Nobody seems to know. But everything's going to get relaunched with the new #1. And they may actually go the all new, all different route that Marvel tries to do with just getting different creative staffs and then starting over again, and they're just going to keep doing that now. But I think people, I don't know, it seems like people may get fatigued by this.
You think?
Particularly people who buy, if all you do is, if now we're setting up for the trades, if all you do is set up for the trades, this makes it really confusing renumbering. Because every time, and that's the problem I ran into with all new and the in separate turns, all new phase and the all different phase, and the Marvel Now phase, is that every time you renumber a title, you don't know, because they used to say, well, it's volume whatever. But then, even in their graphic novels, the numbering of the graphic novels, it's hard to keep up with what sequence it's in.
Right.
Was it Runaways? Aaron, maybe you remember this when you were trying to figure out which Runaways, Volume 4, or because there were like 3 or 4 different series of Runaways, and you couldn't get all of them because some of them were in the Vaughn series, and then some of them were the Whedon run, and they didn't quite have the numbering correct on those, so it was kind of hard to keep up with. You may accidentally have bought one from the 3rd series when you meant to buy one from the 1st series. It gets confusing, and they still haven't quite figured that bit out yet. So if you're selling for the trade, if you're making this stuff for the trade, it's not being put in an easy enough sequence for you to buy. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the Marvel Now and the all different thing where, you know, different creative staffs come in, do their run, and that's it. I think that's cool. Right. It doesn't always work, but I think that's fine. But I think where it gets confusing is when you're trying to put this all together as one continuous series, and you're trying to put the numbering in and trying to figure out what thing goes after what thing. When you're trying to sequence it back into a continuity, from the standpoint of like trying to buy, if you're walking up to the shelf and trying to buy the book, where should I start? Because Volume 1, #1 isn't exact. It may not be the right Volume 1, Book 1. You know what I mean? So that would be the only thing that would bother me about the continuing renumbering of stuff.
So if you had something that could guide you, you know what they need? They need. You remember when they had the various No, not even that. Where they had the various Superman titles, like with Man of Steel,
Yeah.
that were not trying to tell different stories, but sort of like an interconnected story. They had the little shield on it with the number, so that you could keep track of what order shit was happening in. It sounds like they need something like that.
But I have no idea what the DC relaunch is going to be, but that's supposed to be this summer, and I think what it's supposed to do is shrink the line, where you have like not as many, where you're having not as many titles, and that leaves the door open for miniseries and smaller projects.
Right.
And it also kind of opens the door to some of the Vertigo characters going back to being Vertigo characters. And leaving the door open for more limited series and things.
Right.
So maybe that's what they're doing. Otherwise, just about everything's getting a new #1 except for Detective. Detective is never getting a new #1. I think that is the rule. Everything relaunches except Detective always. That is DC's policy, which is confusing as hell, to be honest. So they should renumber Detective, but they won't.
It's basically the chronology version of you don't bring back Uncle Ben. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well...
Or stays in Detective, or goes in Detective, stays in Detective?
Pretty much.
Something. Who knows?
Although I wouldn't clutch that Uncle Ben theory too hard if I were you.
I don't clutch anything too hard.
Except
for when I'm actually driving a vehicle, and then I do clutch too hard.
Yeah,
and it always
apparently there are apparently ads.
You've been here for 5 hours. You want to do introductions now?
Yeah, so that's when we clutch too hard, is usually around the intro time, right?
You have to learn to let go, Aaron.
Pretty much. Fine. We haven't done introductions in a while.
Yeah.
We should do introductions.
We have 2 Robs.
We have 2 Robs, that's true. Rob and his doppelganger.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened.
Dark Rob. Or Darker Rob, whatever. I'm not sure.
It's the Rob of Earth 2.
Better be a big universe.
Crisis on 2 Robs. Okay, so we will do introductions, and we'll do them starting now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Weekend Justice. It's the Weekend Justice podcast here on NeedCoffee.com, the #1 audio internet train wreck. With me, we are here gathered in the Hall of Justice with these weirdos here, the Weekend Hall of... they're not the Weekend Hall, the Weekend Justice League. And I will endeavor to introduce them, going from my right to your left. We have Aaron with us. Hello, Aaron.
Sup.
Damn it, I was going to do that.
Sup. And we have Tuffley as well. Hi, Tuffley.
It's been a long time since you've done introductions, hasn't it?
Been a long time. It's been a long, lonely, lonely time. We have Rob with us. Hi, Rob.
Sup.
Sup. We have Scott C. as well. Hi, Scott.
Why did I come back here?
That's what we
I don't know.
That's
all
what
roads
he
lead
said.
back to Weekend Justice. Warning. And, of course, we have John Boutel from the Unique Geek. Hi, John.
It's that big that it's been over my face.
That's amazing.
You know, Robo Lee was so young.
She needed the money.
I feel better. I thought she was going to kill you. Now she's just going to kill you. But that's how this usually works. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. Just usually death.
Now, guys.
What was that?
She needs it now, guys.
She needs it now, guys. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, she does what she's told and she puts the lotion on her skin.
Oh,
that's
so wrong.
good.
Yeah, we're all going to be killed. But it's going to be worth it. It's totally going to be worth it.
Well, that's what this podcast
all right,
is really all about.
We just
getting
have to
killed and things on Lee's face. So we should probably wander towards recommendations because it's getting about that time. So, who would like to go first?
I'll go first because I need to go to bed.
All right, go, Aaron.
I'm going to recommend myself. Because I haven't been on here in a long time, and I want to use the opportunity to plug a few things before I go.
Go for it. Do it.
I have a Patreon. It is nice to have. Patreon is great. If anyone doesn't know what the fuck that is, it's basically a lovely little website where you can give me $1 once a month. And those dollars go towards me paying web hosting fees and podcast hosting fees, which means that I now do a new podcast because I got paid for by the lovely people at Patreon. So I do an interview podcast now called Aaron Fever Talks 2, which is on iTunes. There's 2 episodes up. I do it once a month, and I talk to a famous person or at least a very talented person that I know about why they're famous/talented. So yeah, that's the things I've been doing. And if you've ever listened to Weekend Justice and thought, hey, I could listen to that Irish guy for another hour, please subscribe to that.
You know, I want that Irish kid not being talked over by random people. Hey, I know where I can go and get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that feels good.
Oh, I should wish I could do a podcast with myself. That would be amazing.
Robo Aaron, he was so much older than he is now.
Yeah. I'm reverse aging. I'm
You're
the
reverse
Benjamin Button
aging.
of the team.
We've blown our wad early in the show.
By the way, I meant to ask, what in the hell is in that lotion, sir? Oh, never mind.
Foreskin.
Wait a minute, this is lube.
I'm eating a donut. I don't care.
That's still my favorite.
Classic drunk me.
That's my absolute favorite. Oh God. All right. So yeah. So is it what? Patreon.com/what?
Aaron Fever.
Aaron Fever. Excellent.
With 2 R's, right?
Sure.
Well, there are 2 R's in there.
Yeah, one in Aaron and one in Fever.
Well, as Tony Stark once said, well, you're not wrong. All right. Thank you, Aaron. Definitely go throw that man $1, for God's sake.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So who's next? Are you? So Aaron, are you going to bed?
I'm gonna go poof and disappear.
All right. Have fun poofing.
Bye, Scott.
Bye. Bye. All right. Who's next?
Nothing.
I'll go next.
All right. Go Toughly.
Venture Brothers season 6. It's damn good. It's Sunday nights on Adult Swim, and you can buy a season pass on iTunes if you don't have cable, or steal someone's password. But do watch that. And then I'll also mention Suede's got a new album called Night Thoughts. I think I might have mentioned this the last time I was on, but it is actually out now, and it's pretty good as well. And I think I did say the last issue of Phonogram I did mention the last time. I think the trade's going to be out in a couple of weeks for the Immaculate Girl. Immaterial Girl, sorry. The Immaterial Girl, which is volume 3 of Phonogram. Possibly the last volume of that series, so check that out. And I believe also the trade, the next Wick Div trade is also coming out pretty soon as well.
Well, is that it?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Toughly. All right, who's next? Okay, why don't you go, Scott?
Okay.
Don't take down your pants.
How much would you expect to pay for Scott's pants?
Whoa. and to our listeners across the pond, he doesn't mean underpants, he means trousers.
Get the
Okay.
fuck
Scott.
off her.
Actually, I received a Christmas present that was Star Trek Costumes. It's this nice, big, coffee table book that really goes through like all the various decisions and interesting ideas that they use to come up with some of the come up with the costumes and the uniforms and the logic or lack thereof. Come up with stuff. So it's a coffee table book. So it's really nice, good quality. What's the word I'm looking for? My brain is gone.
It's a well-made book.
Thank you. Yes. So go pick that up if you're a Star Trek fan. You'll enjoy it. So yeah, that's it for me.
Okay.
That's all
cool.
you get. That's all you get. Done dong.
Thanks, Scott.
Cool.
All right, Rob, what you got?
I will start off kind of with the obvious, but probably so far the most definitive biography of David Bowie ever written. It's called Starman by Paul Trinka. He was been on Radio 6 a lot in the last month talking about all things Bowie, but it's just a really good, thorough read about Bowie, his upbringing, and not just talking about the records he made, but like things that influenced him and why he made the records he did. And it's really, really fascinating. So I'll recommend that. Also, in case you have not checked it out, the trade for the new Sandman collection Overture is out. It's a prequel of sorts to the comics, and it's probably worth checking out and reading if you're a completist for the Sandman.
And it's
Also,
really interesting within the context of the main series if you go back and read it after Overture.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how it all wedged in really well. Also, I do want to recommend Archive, which is the new Creation Records box set, which I got for Christmas, and I have to say it's pretty great. It's the very early collection from 1982 to 1985 of records from Creation Records, so a ton of stuff you can't get otherwise, and just a whole bunch of Peel sessions, demos, and really cool sort of post-punk and indie rock stuff from that period. So do recommend that. Which brings us up to a nice sort of companion to what Tuffley had picked with Suede, and that is the new record Adore Life by Savages. So if you like,
nice.
If you like your rock, did you like that? See what I did there? I sort of bookended that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's a really great, like raw, nervy record. So I do recommend that as well for everyone to check out and enjoy. And it's the thing that's interesting is it sort of touches on all those glam things and rock and roll things that you get in the Suede record, but it also it's really kind of unnerving and raw and rough. I know I mentioned that before,
and
but it's just
great.
really, yeah, she is actually really, really good. They're really good, and they do. The thing that's cool about them too is that they have a policy that I love when you go to their shows of like, you are not going to stick your giant camera or iPod up and bother people while we're doing, which I think is pretty great, and I love that. So I think that's awesome. And then lastly, I'll recommend because I've gotten to hear some of it in bits and pieces early, the Hope 6 Demolition Project, the new record from PJ Harvey. There's also a companion book with it. Basically, she and a filmmaker friend of hers went to basically all the places in the world that you don't want to visit, and wrote songs about them. Sort of like, she went to war-torn Africa, parts of, war-torn former Yugoslavia, just observed things and wrote songs about them. And it's sort of this whole compendium of different related projects to the album, but it's really, really, really good. And she's going to tour this year, so I'm quite excited about that. So yeah, ding, I'm done.
Cool. Thanks, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
All right, John, what you got?
I'm just going to go ahead and recommend Conjure, March 5th and 6th in Orlando. ConjureFlorida.com.
Da, da, da.
And you can buy that through neatcopy.com/Amazon.
You can buy an entire convention on Amazon?
I'm pretty sure you probably could.
And there you have it.
Yeah. It's, according to this website, it's a 2-day fan-run multi-genre convention bringing together fans of sci-fi, fantasy, comic book, gaming, anime, cosplay, music, podcasting, art, and many other forms of entertainment. I don't think you left out any, to be honest with you. And creativity.
And trains.
And trains.
Do you like elephants? Do you like trains?
Do
you like elephants? Elephants on trains. Do you like George Wendt? Do you like George Wendt on trains?
So, Wager, are you going to be there?
Yes, I am.
At conjureflorida.com?
No, I'm going to be at the actual thing, not just the website.
Oh, okay. When is that? March 5th and 6th in Orlando, Florida?
That's what I understand. That is the rumor.
Are tickets on sale now?
I think so.
Will Dana Snyder be there?
Yes, he will.
What about Zoe Palmer? Wherever she is.
I have not talked to her for a long time, but I'm assuming so.
What about, Sandeep Purohit?
Yes, and he is a funny bastard, so yes.
What about Rob Guillory from Chew and Walking Dead and Rocket Raccoon?
I believe he will be there as well.
Okay, good. Well, that's good to hear.
What about Mark Shepard?
No, he will definitely not be there.
he's attending as an attendee.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, he's not.
I'm so sorry.
He'll be stopped at the door.
Actually,
are you sure?
He's never coming back to Orlando because it's a cesspool.
I think that's an outtake.
Nope, that's staying in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of all the people who do listen, we know Mark Shepard does not listen, so it's okay.
Even if he did, again, fuck you, Mark Shepard.
Yeah. All the other people you mentioned, we know they listen, so it's cool.
And ironically, he was in so many really great bands in the early 80s that it's just a shame. He played for television personalities for a while and a couple other really cool bands, and now it's all gone to shit.
Yeah.
Weekend Justice ending on a low.
Is Shag going to be there?
I don't think so.
Then you can't tell him how you met Sylvester McCoy before he did.
There will be no doctors there either, but there is the guy that does.
Yeah, so don't get sick at Conjure because there's no fucking doctors there.
That's okay.
It is a doctor-free zone. In fact, it is sponsored by the organization Doctors with Borders. I don't know. Yes, but
my bubble, is that all they say?
What? So John is correct in that most things besides membership at Conjure are available through neatcoffee.com/Amazon, where if you're going to buy stuff from Amazon anyway, do it through us, and we get some kickbacks, and we do appreciate it. So, my recommendations. A couple quick things. First, coming out on March 1st, I believe this is the Blu-ray debut of the modern classic. This should be out on Criterion, but it's not. It's Strange Brew. This is a modern classic. I don't care what features it has. You need to own it because it's Strange Brew. I think they couldn't do Strange Brew because they were busy setting up The Graduate to be released on Criterion Blu-ray. That's coming out on the 23rd. And The Graduate is fantastic. So you should watch that. And The Graduate is the reason why Gene Wilder was in The Producers. So there you go. Also,
is that going to come with a Lemonheads video? Because I'm not going to buy it unless it does.
Knowing Criterion, it probably will. So, a couple quick CD recommendations. If you are an Alan Sherman completist, then they have released an album, I think back in 2014, called The Lost Song Parodies of Alan Sherman. There's Nothing Like a Lox, which were previously unreleased live performances. Admittedly, because they're recorded live, the quality is not great. So I would not say, if you're not familiar with Alan Sherman, to start here. But if you are like me, a fan of all things Alan Sherman, you want to make sure your collection stays complete and grab this. Also, because of Rob's nefarious plot to get me addicted to BBC Six Music.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. I have been doing a deep dive on certain things, including Kool and the Gang. So I went back to their self-titled first album, and it's really fantastic.
I know.
So if you know, I mean, Celebration is like fun and whatever.
No.
Ladies' Night, whatever. No, I mean it's fun for what it is, but compared to their early stuff, it's no comparison. So now, unfortunately, I was trying to figure out the best way of grabbing it, and the only way I could find is that it's available on import, because it doesn't appear to be in print in the U.S. It's very hard to find. So I don't know why. But yeah, it's a self-titled Kool and the Gang, which is really hard to even Google because it's self-titled. And they just want to sell you the greatest hits and stuff like that.
Although Quentin Tarantino probably has it.
Of course he does. In fact, he has the Kool and the Gang board game as well.
Nice. As a side note to that, Witch, can I intrude for a second?
Absolutely.
While you were making an effort to listen to the early records of Kool and the Gang, for the love of God, listen to the first few Earth, Wind, and Fire records.
Oh, God, yeah.
Respect.
I will second that.
Yeah.
Adding that to my list.
Yeah.
And lastly, because I was the victim long ago of some of Tuffley's nefarious plots, I will recommend...
You enjoyed all of them.
Yes, I do. I do. At the end of last year, Placebo put out an unplugged CD.
Oh, I just heard about this last week.
Yeah, which has lots and lots of strings, and I like strings. So, and some of the live versions are a little different. Like, for example, the unplugged version of Meds is sounds a lot more medicated. And they have some guest stars like Jonah's Policewoman does some guest vocals on Protect Me From What I Want. It's actually pretty sweet. So if you dig Placebo and you love strings, like I do, then you definitely want to check that out. It's the Placebo Unplugged album. And according to science, even if you know that it's a Placebo album, you'll still enjoy it.
And that also nicely bookends the Suede Savages conversation earlier that Tuffley and I had.
Well done there.
Yeah, just saying.
Rob brings it back around.
Yeah. Kool and the Gang, kids.
Yeah, old school Kool and the Gang.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But don't listen to the Eagles. They're shit.
Okay, real quick before we go.
All right, just get out of my car now.
No, wait a minute. Just so. What did Glenn Fry do? Did he run over a bunch of puppies with a steamroller? What did he do that when he passed away, everyone was like, what? What did I miss?
Well, Tuffley, you go.
Well, I was just going to say he had the misfortune of dying in a string of other more talented musicians. I don't know. I know. Miami Vice, Wedge. That's what it was. Miami Vice. It's going to happen to Phil Collins someday.
Well, the other thing, too, is that he was not necessarily known... It has been said that he was not necessarily known for being the most humble of people as well.
Okay. Gotcha. But I mean, I'm sorry. The Heat is on. That's a cool song. It's 80s-tastic. Don't get me wrong. It's 80s-tastic. Like Smuggler's Blues. It's a great song.
On the street?
What's that?
On the street?
Yeah.
Is it the pressure high just to stay alive?
Absolutely. In fact, if the pressure gets too high, you should see your doctor about hypertension. Ask your doctor if anti-Glenn Fry medication is right for you.
I think Rob's trying to hang himself now.
So you're recommending the Eagles' long run album?
No. No, I'm not. I just don't hate the Eagles as much as most everyone else, apparently.
I'm okay with the Eagles. I'm okay with actually. I have Hotel California. I mean, I have like the Joe Walsh albums.
Well, of course, if you have Hotel California, you can never get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works.
You can check it out in the library.
Yeah.
And
leave the library.
And I would like to blame like the backmasking people for making me buy Hotel California, but because it's immediately those videos is the list of albums you went out and got the very next fucking day after you saw that video. Am I right about this week?
No. Absolutely.
Okay.
It's like Hotel California. It's like El Dorado. It's like the White Album.
Well, I had the White Album anyway, so.
Yeah, but well, I was a bit smaller when they first showed me one of those videos, and then I was sitting there. Unfortunately, I was sitting there with a notepad going, okay, I need to get this, and I need to get this. Oh yeah, Judas Priest, get that.
If only I had some way of getting all of these cheaply. Then Columbia House appeared and toughly said, "Oh, thank you, Jesus."
And then on the second day, there was Columbia House.
And then there's needcoffee.com/Amazon.
Which takes the place of Columbia House in our hearts.
Although they're bringing Columbia House back.
What?
They're bringing it back as a vinyl club.
Yeah.
They're bringing it back as a record of the month club, which is where it started.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
I'm waiting for gramophones to come back.
Well, the cassette is right behind it.
I'm waiting for grandpa phones to come back.
Oh, is that the phone that's shaped just like a grandpa? It comes with the Sports Illustrated subscription?
Reader's Digest.
Oh, God. And a giant book of bathroom humor? Yeah, no, don't do that. Okay. So, on that note, I think we should adjourn this episode of Weekend Justice. And as we have reached the end of another sprawling and completely mental and meaningless podcast, I think we should all take a look at the carnage that lies around us, the viscera and whatnot, and simply say, life in the fast lane.
Susa Studio.
Okay, that's crossing the streams.
It's gonna blow my mind, though, dude. Like,
no,
weaving in and out of the fast lane.
Tuffley and Rob both abstained.
I'm making it. What?
Rob and Tuffley both abstained from the final phrase.
I quoted a Peter Gabriel lyric. What more do you want?
Sad.
False.
All right.
Sad.
That's it, Ben.
I weep for the future.
I weep for the past.
Yes.
So between the two of us, we got it covered. So that only leaves one thing for the present, Rob.
Okay.
Whiskey.
Okay.
Whiskey and Skittles.
I'm good with that.
All right.
Life in the fast lane.
You're
okay,
dead.
kids. I'm running away now.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good night.